Hello everybody, welcome back to Finnigan 40K. It has been a beautiful June so far in Ottawa, but there's a few rainy days, so I thought, what the hell, let's get a battle going. This one is very Armageddon themed. We'll still be using 10th edition rules, but we know Armageddon is on the way very soon. What you guys are looking at right now is a compound. So out on this side, there is a battle going on over this wall from the side of the salamanders. So I just wanted to build this little compound here to kind of build some narrative to the back of this battle. You can see there's multiple forces in here representing the Imperium. We have the Acadian shock troops, we have Death Corps of Krieg, and we have salamanders. But the main battle is over here with someone that you guys all probably know quite well, is Commissar Yarrick. So I did a similar battle to this when probably a year or more now. It was against the Tyranids. So what this is going to be is a convoy fight where there is multiple vehicles here that have to get from point A to point B. So we have some of the new vehicles as well that came in with the Armageddon sets for the Astra Militarum. And I do have some boxes here representing who is in each vehicle. And look at that. Who's in there with Commissar Yarrick? We have some Mordian Iron Guard. These are the old school pewter models. I was able to put together a squad. I have a couple of extra guys and a lieutenant, but actually I should say lieutenant because we're Canadian. But I was able to get them together, and really cool to have another Astra Militarum group in here. So represented in this fight is the Death Corps of Krieg, Acadian shock troops, and the Mordian Iron Guard. So in our Centaur RSV at the back, we do have Commissar Graves with a squad of 10 Acadian. We have the man himself, Commissar Yarrick, in with those 10 Mordian Iron Guard. They are in, sorry, I'm clearing my throat. They're in the center vehicle here. And then we have within the Chimera a Castellan, Primaris Psyker, and another 10 Acadian. So that is the force that is going to have to move down this roadway. I have made sure that there is enough for 6 turns here. So we have my tokens with the Astra Militarum symbol on them going down this roadway. Number 3, number 4, number 5, and then at the end is Ghazghkull Thraka, who I always say is kind of like, you know, you got Bowser who wants to get Princess Peach, and it's weird, but Ghazghkull Thraka kind of loves Commissar Yarrick, so he's in this fight to capture him again. He knows Yarrick's a really good scrapper, and he respects the man almost like a buddy. It's kind of cute, but also kind of weird because he's an orc and Yarrick is a human. But that's what we're doing here. So I have Commissar Yarrick as Princess Peach, who is trying to steal him away from the Emperor, who I'll say is Mario. I don't know. So just to show you guys the forces that are going to be here, I do have a couple of set forces here. So we have the Storm Boys. We have Ghazghkull, of course, and I don't know if you guys saw, but Makari is in like a little sneaker grot suit. It's not really Makari, it's a different model, but it's the distraction grot. I thought that'd be hilarious to just have at the end of the fight. Playing with orcs is so much fun. They're just crazy. We also have one of the orc artillery pieces here that is going to be a bubble chukka, mainly for this fight. A couple rules as well to lay down before I show you guys the orc forces that are coming in here. There are some static units that are going to be here the whole fight. So this is one of them from the orc side. They do have an artillery piece. This is going to be able to drop rounds anywhere on the table that's within range. I believe it's 48 inches for the bubble chukka, so 4 feet from there. The Storm Boys are here to be able to fly around the table and kind of cause a little bit of havoc on the side of the orcs, and I'll show you guys their nemesis across the way. We do have some Tempestus Aquilons who are in the center of the battlefield, who are going to be running a little bit of distraction as well from the side of the Astra Militarum to lock into some of the forces that are going to be coming down onto the table. I've never used these guys before. I got them just kind of on a whim. Very, very cool paint scheme, kind of like that aquamarine pants with the black. I know used to have stormtroopers. They kind of turn into Kasserkin, and then you also have the Tempestus Scions, but these are the Tempestus Aquilons, so a little bit faster with those jump packs. They have a little gun servitor as well on the side there that's going to be able to help them with some better firepower. The installation that I showed you guys at the start over here that has the salamanders, terminators, The two artillery pieces and the Rogaldorn tank are going to be able to fire on the table to help out Commissar Yarrick as he moves along the convoy route, but they cannot move. So this is more for kind of a diorama here, just showing you guys that there is a massive Armageddon fight just over that wall where I'm standing. And this kind of group of units here has been able to be allocated to give some support to Yarrick as he moves on the table. We're going to say that Yarrick has some super important information, or maybe since he's now kind of a PR guy for the Astra Militarum, everybody loves him. He's a great leader. They're moving him from one side of the Armageddon battlefield to another, or he's got super important information, so he's got to make it through that convoy line. So that's going on there. Now I'm going to show you guys this orc force coming in. There's about 1,100 points for the Cadian, just to get that down. There's also, I should have mentioned here, a Salamander Lieutenant. I might actually move him to be with the Aquilons. I'll have to figure that out. But he has been allocated kind of as a Salamander personal bodyguard for Yarrick as he moves along the convoy route. So this lieutenant has been able to leave the sanctuary of the, well, there's no real sanctuary here. It's everything is war, but of the compound, and he's going to be either walking along or leading those Aquilons. I'll have to decide and see what I want to do, because these vehicles move very quick. Even with the Space Marines superhuman abilities, they will, you know, outrun him, and I don't want to slow the vehicles down because we have 6 turns to get across the field. So I'm going to show you guys the orcs in a sec. I just want to get this down before I forget. So what we're going to do here is these are 16 inches apart between each token. So 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6. And as the Astra Militarum touch each one, so our Hippogriff moves about 12 inches, so it'll be 2 moves to get it out there. As soon as they hit this token, there will be a d6 dice rolled. And the reason I wanted to mention that is because it's going to reflect what orc force is coming out. I'm going to show you guys those now while we're live. So I've done this before a few times with my kind of, I do an annual battle if you guys want to check them out, usually for Last Stand at Glazer's Creek. Mine is always Last Stand at Oil Camp Omega, I usually try to do. But these are the orc forces coming in, very vehicle heavy, very fast. So as I roll the d6, when a token is touched, so this doesn't reflect the dice roll, like being a 5, if a 5 is rolled, it refers to this. It doesn't. It refers to these over here. So if a 2 is rolled, we have this new big mech model who I just painted up. Absolutely incredible model. Very, very cool. If a 2 is rolled, the big mech is going to be coming out with this line of orcs here. Quite a force. If a 4 is rolled, we're going to have the Orc Warboss in Mega Armor coming out with the Pain Boy. And this is his troop selection that's going to be coming onto the table with him. There we are. And last but not least, if a 6 is rolled, we have the Weird Boy coming out with this lineup here. So some bikes, we got Def Dreads, we have Gorkanaut, Morkanaut at the back too. I always forget which one that is, but it's got the Gatling cannon, which is going to just shred the infantry. But yeah, so if I hit the first token, I roll a 1, they can just continue to go. If I hit the token and I roll a 2, that means that this force is going to be coming out. If I hit a 4 on the dice, it's going to be this one coming out after I hit that first token, and if it's a 6, it's here. So it's going to be half and half. There's going to be 3 dice rolls where they just move. And what I'm trying to do here is kind of make it feel like an ambush or something, you know, similar to, I'd say, Afghanistan kind of thing. So it's a convoy moving out, and they are going to be hit by the orcs, who in this case would be the ambushers. So yeah, here it is. You hit the first token, I roll a d6. If it's a 1, they continue to move. If it's a 2, they're taking on one of the orcs. If that roll, you know, is a 1, they move to number 2, and then I roll again. If I roll the same number, I will continue to roll until I get a different number as well to make sure that the battle moves as quickly as possible. Just thought of this one, thought it'd be a really cool idea, especially with the whole Armageddon theme going on. So I will finish up this little intro, show you guys once again the force out here. We have the Hippogriff, we have a Chimera, we have the Taurox, we have the Centaur RSV, We have the troops that are inside each of those, and they will be able to disembark if they need to hold up enemies, whatever it might be, if they need to go out and just walk alongside the vehicles. So they are going to be almost like meat shields in protecting mainly Yarrick, who's in that Torox. So we'll see how that goes. And then one last shot here of the force that is currently trying to hold off probably a massive Orc Wah on the other side of the wall here. We have the Salamander Command Group. Again, just for narrative, these guys aren't going to be able to shoot. They don't have the range to actually be able to fight those Orcs as they hit up the road, but the Rogaldorn should, as should the Death Corps of Krieg artillery pieces. So we'll get this one going, hoping it'll be a lot of fun. I think it should be a pretty quick, fast, fun battle, and playing as Orcs is always great. I will always be playing hard for both sides, and I'm going to definitely use some Orky strategy, which really isn't strategy at all. It's going to be a lot of driving fast and shooting big, loud guns and attacking and chopping up humans. So here we go. Let's get it started. Get over to the tray, and I'll do that first move. We'll get our troops up to that first token, and then I'll roll and we'll see what we're facing right off the bat. Let's get to it. Just to show you guys before that roll, we do have the Hippogriff that has hit that first token, so we're going to have to roll the d6 and see what Orc lineup is coming out, or if they are going to be able to continue to move to the next token. As the Orcs come out, it's going to be one turn on either side. I'm going to say that the ambush is going to go to the Orcs first, because that makes sense, but then the Astra Militarum will be able to fight back with the Convoy line, with the Aquilons, who also now have that Salamander Lieutenant with them. I decided to do that. These are elite Astra Militarum being led by a Space Marine. I think that makes sense. And then also we'll be able to fire all of the artillery pieces in Rogaldorn to make sure that there's artillery support here, which makes sense. So, we do have the really cool thing here in the Centaur RSV is you kind of do have like a FUFAC almost in the back here. So like a forward observation officer. You can see him in there. He's got some grid points on his little paper. Got some guys in the back as well. So a very cool new vehicle. I've really tried to kind of do some nice detail on it too there. I've got some of the mud and stuff on the tracks and the tires. But yeah, we'll get to this one. I'm going to move over to the tray. So excited. I love my Astra Militarum so much. My favorite force. Been playing with them forever. And always taking on the Orcs in an Armageddon setting is absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, over to the tray and we'll see what these guys are facing, or if they're not facing anything at all. Alrighty, behind the tray. So I am going to probably be in the tray quite a bit this fight, because this is going to be full rules. If you guys watch my Apocalypse scenarios previous, they were more kind of generalized and generic. We were doing a lot of D3 and D6 rolls for casualties. In this case, we're going to be using the full profiles this time. So, a Melta Cannon is going to have all of its regular rolls. It can fire against infantry units or vehicle units. It's going to be the full rules of 40,000 10th edition. Yeah, so let's get to it. Here we go. We have red dice for our Astra Militarum as well, just to point that out on this side. We have green dice, of course, for our Orcs, and since they're Orcs, they need big dice because they'd have big chunky fingers, so they're going to be rolling big ones. And then I have my nice little wall of martyrs in behind there just for some scenery, so you guys aren't looking at a plastic tabletop. Here we go, though. We'll see what happens. So 1, 3, 5, the Astra Militarum can continue down the convoy route. 2, 4, 6, they're going to be facing one of these massive hordes of Orcs. As a horde comes in, they're going to have their hit and run. They're not going to be able to come back out. I've done that before in some previous battles, but this will literally be number 2, number 4, number 6. Ghazghkull will always be there at the end. They're going to have to get through him. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. Let's roll. So it is a 4. So our 4 is the one that is led by the Orc War Boss in Mega Armor and the Pain Boy. In there we have 3 Killicans. We have some Defcoptas. We have the Ruckatruck Squig Buggy, and we have, it used to be called the Death Roller or something, but it is one of their big trucks. So I'm going to get them out, and they can come from anywhere on the table. So they can come from in front, from behind, from the sides. And the Orcs want to get into a scrap. So whatever's the fastest way to get in there is what they're probably going to do. So let's set that up. I'll show you guys where the Orcs are, and we'll take it from there. Just show you guys quickly before I set them up. This is what's coming out. So I just mentioned the list of them there, but I'll do a quick scan up to show you guys who is coming in. There we go. So I'm going to set them up, and a lot of vehicles here, so I'm hoping my infantry are going to be able to stay safe in their vehicles, but if vehicles start to get blown up, they're going to be on that table pretty much at the mercy of these orc guns. Luckily, the orcs shoot like absolute garbage, so maybe they won't hit much. But there are Gretchen in those Killicans, which have a better ballistic skill, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'll set them up, come back, show you guys where they are, and we will get this one started with the orcs movement, shoot, and any hand-to-hand combat. Homer's really cheering me on too, eh, buddy? You like your Armageddon fights as well, eh? All right. So here we go, show you guys what happened here. So this is number 4 group of orcs that came out. 4 was rolled. Not a great spot to be in for the Astra Militarum. They're literally cornered here around a corner on the road. So we have the Ruckatruck Squig Buggy that is a very fast unit flown in from somewhere off to the side here, teamed up with the big War Track vehicle, and they are going to be putting some rounds down on the Hippogriff. The Ghazghkull have come in from the side here, and they're going to be putting their firepower into the Chimera. The Chimera has the Castellan, the Primaris Psyker, and 10 Astra Militarum Cadian shock troops. The Killicans have come into the side, and they have Commissar Yarrick's vehicle, the Torox, in their view with those Mordian Iron Guard inside. The Killicans, again, I said their ballistic skill is pretty good. Their weapons are actually all right, but if they want to get into hand-to-hand combat, they've got some really good hand-to-hand combat weapons. So if I decide to do that, I might just do it. And those Gretchen, a little bit more scared, but when they're in a Killican, they're bigger than an orc. They feel invincible, so they're going to do whatever they need to do. And then we have at the back here another big problem. He's taller than the friggin' Centaur RSV. We have the Orc Warboss in Mega Armor, who is within range to put that massive choppa into the back of the vehicle, and he's got his Pain Boy there too in case any rounds start coming down. The Pain Boy can maybe keep him afloat. We'll have to see. Yeah, there's not any orc infantry really on this force other than the character models. So they're going to be coming out and pretty much jumping right into hand-to-hand combat because that's where their weapon skill roll is much, much better. So we are going to see what happens here. It is going to, so this is just, again, this is also just the setup of the orcs, so they haven't done their movement yet. This is just them coming out of an ambush position from the side of the road, and the movement is still to happen for them, so I'm going to have to see. I can definitely see the war boss coming into the back of the vehicle there to try to cleave it in half. Killicans might stay back, might move in, we'll have to see. Ghazghkull is definitely going to be firing, and then same with the Ruckatruck Squig Buggy and the War Track there. They're going to be going into probably shooting, and there's a lot of weapon systems too on that big orc truck. So we'll see how it goes. I'll get their move going here. Just wanted to show you guys where they're set up currently. Come back, tell you guys what we are doing with our orcs, and we'll take it from there and head to the tray to get rolling. So yeah, I gotta get the names down again. Battle Wagon. I was calling it a War Track, but that's a lot smaller. But that is a Orc Battle Wagon. Used to be called the Def Rolla or something, or a Dread Rolla, something. They've changed the names a few times, but this thing's got some pretty damn good weapons on it. That and the Ruckatruck Squig Buggy are firing at that Hippogriff. The Killicans have decided to be invincible and have gone into hand-to-hand combat with the Torox, and Commissar Yarrick is in there, so we're going to see how he can do. Hopefully that vehicle doesn't go down on the first turn, and if it does, hopefully there is no deadly demise with it. And then in the back here, another issue, we have that Orc Warboss in Mega Armor that is going to try to be hacking that Centaur RSV in half. The Pain Boy is just kind of there to look good. He's able to give a Feel No Pain to units, but it's only units that he leads, so he cannot give that to the Orc Warboss, but he's there to look stylish and help his buddy out. So let's get to the tray. We're going to do the shoots first for this first turn, and then we'll get into hand-to-hand. Should be a pretty quick fight. It's going to be, again, Orcs go, then the Imperial Guard go. I'm going to have to measure across the table, too, because there is the Bubble Chukka way over in the corner can fire at 48 inches, so it might also be shooting here in the shoot phase, but when I get to the tray, I'll let you guys know what I'm doing. And that Bubble Chukka can definitely fire into these Tempestus Aquilons as well, so we'll see how it goes. But I'll get to the tray, and we'll get this one rolling. So shoots, hand-to-hand combat, and that is it for the Orc turn 1. Just measured out the distance from the mech gun, which in this case is going to be a Bubble Chukka, to the Tempestus Aquilons. They are definitely in range. The range of the mech gun is actually to about disc number 3 along the roadway, so there's going to be some vehicles that'll probably be in range soon enough as well, and this thing can actually do some incredible damage, mattering on how it goes. So it's been a while since I've used it, but we are going to use the mech gun. I'm seeing here, so Bubble Chukka Big Bubble is a 1 to 2, Bubble Chukka Wobbly Bubble is a 3 to 4, and then the Bubble Chukka 5 to 6 is a dense bubble. So you can't choose which profile you're going to get. I'd love to get a dense bubble every time, but this is Orc technology, so you never know what's going to happen. So we have to roll first, I believe. If you guys are big Orc players, let me know, but we have to roll first to see what we're actually getting. And then from there, we're going to see how many attacks we get based off of the ballistic skill. And again, these are Gretchen, so they have a 4+ as opposed to a 5+, so a lot better aim. Actually the same as an Imperial Guardsman, which is us humans in the year 40,000. So here we go. Let's see what we're getting. So it looks like Gorik and Mork have been looking down upon our little Gretchen friends, and they have got a dense bubble out of the Bubble Chukka. So they got the right mix in there. The little grots, I'll show you them in a second. They're hilarious little guys. They have, it's just like a little, artillery group of them. It's pretty awesome. But this one here, it does have less attacks, but it is strength 12 and massive damage. So this, if goes well, could actually finish off the Aquilons and possibly that Salamander Lieutenant. So we're going to see how many we get rolling a D3. So that is 3. That's 2.5. So you cut the dice in half. That becomes a 3. So we are getting 3 attacks, which is the highest you can get for this. It is hitting on a 4+. So 2 have not hit. 1 has hit. It is a strength 12 versus a toughness 3 of the Tempestus Aquilons. So it is going to be a 2+ to wound. And they have got that as well. So that's a 5. This is not good. It is -3 to AP. Our Tempestus Aquilons, I'm just checking to see they're a new unit for me. If they have any kind of invulnerable save or anything that can help them out, they do not. So this is going to be a save that they cannot make. It's -3 AP. They have a 4 save, so now they're at the whim of a D6 +3 damage. So we're hoping for a very low roll here. That's not great either, though. So better than the full 9 damage, but this is still 6 damage. So we have lost 6 of the Tempestus Aquilons. That is more than half the squad. So I'm just over here removing them. I want to make sure I keep my special weapons and the gun servitor going. That is pretty depressing to look at. So they have lost pretty much their entire unit. I just want to make sure. One has a plasma gun. I got these guys a while ago and I don't remember what loadout they have. Yeah, the rest had hotshot las guns. So I'm just going to move them over to the side here, make sure that I'm tracking how many were killed. So we've lost 6 of the Tempestus Aquilons from the friggin' Bubble Chukka. But that's what it's all about. So I'll show you guys just this little cute group of Gretchen Grots here that are manning this Bubble Chukka that just killed 6 Imperial Guard. There they are. Oh, and I put a squig in there too, and he's got some kind of like, I think I did that custom. I put a little thing on his back. It might be like a Necron device, but I wanted it to be like some kind of communication signal or something that's feeding to the Bubble Chukka. It's hilarious. You can do whatever you want with these things. So yeah, one's got a little like welding mask on, one's got some cable, one's got an ammo box, 2 have an ammo box, one has a stick bomb, it looks like, as well. And this is the aftermath of that little Gretchen artillery team. So we have the gun sentry, we have 4 Aquilons left, and the Salamander Lieutenant. So we're going to get to the remainder of the shoots here. That's going to be over there, the battle wagon and the rocket truck squig buggy firing upon the hippogriff. So we'll get to the tray again here in just a second, get that going. Show you these guys one more time. Wee, 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 wee. Just finished putting all the wound tokens down because I noticed I was too excited I didn't put them down on the table. So everyone has the appropriate wounds now allocated to them, so we can carry forward with the remaining shoots in hand-to-hand. I don't know if this is new or not, or maybe I just haven't noticed it, but the battle wagon, it has a lot of different profiles, and at the bottom it says, before selecting targets with this weapon, select one of its profiles. So with this weapon, select one of its profiles to make attacks with. So there's multiple guns on here. I've always thought that you can fire all the weapons that you can. But I guess to make this fair, because there's a possibility that this thing would shoot with like 6 different weapon systems. So I am going to take its most powerful, which makes sense. The orcs like their big loud noises. So this is going to be the kill cannon, which is the big cannon on the top of the battle wagon, firing into the hippogriff AFV. This is the first time I've ever used a hippogriff. It's a really cool little vehicle. I just hope that this isn't the end of it, because with this much power coming down on it in the first turn, it might. So the ballistic skill of those orcs being 5+ might be the saving grace here for the Cadian, but we'll see. So the kill cannon attacks are D6 + 1. So that is good for our Astra Militarum. That is 1 + 1, so it's going to be 2, and they need 5 pluses here to actually use it. So 1 did fire, so this one has fired. It is strength 9 versus a toughness of 8. So this is going to be a 3 to wound. Got that as well. The kill cannon is a -2 to AP. The hippogriff does not have an invulnerable save, so this is up to a 5+ now. Did not save it, so that is 2 wounds allocated from the battle wagon to the hippogriff. So I'm just going to reduce its wounds from 7 down to 5, and that is not it, because there's also the rocket truck squig buggy that is going to be firing upon it as well. I hope I get to use the thing, but we'll see. I was thinking about maybe bringing in, I got the Armageddon pack, and I painted my other hippogriff in Deathcore of Krieg. I was thinking about bringing 2 of them in, or maybe having 2 sentinels, but I decided to go with a bit of the different vehicles there with the Taurox as well. I haven't used a Taurox in a long time, so it's really cool to have it out there again too. But anyways, let's get to the rocket truck squig buggy. Not amazing weapons on it. It is able to use all of its profiles, though. There is no note there, so it's going to be the sawn-off shotgun and then the squig launchas. And still not that bad. So a lot of attacks possibly from the squig launcher. Pretty high strength, so we'll see what happens. We'll start off with the sawn-off shotgun, though. This is one of the orcs just like hanging on the side or the back. He's going to be blasting, again, 5+. Wow, these orcs are rolling super well. Gork and Mork are helping them out. So that is 12, 2 6s. This is strength 4 versus toughness 8, though, so this is when they're actually going to need those 6s. They need 6s to wound here, and didn't pick it up this time. So the sawn-off shotgun, not powerful enough to penetrate the hippogriff armor. Thank you, hippogriff. It's able to survive that. Next one is going to be the squig launchas, so D6 + 6. So this is a bunch of little tiny squigs. I'll show you that to you guys in a sec too, to break up the tray. It's another really cute, hilarious little model. There's some that are like biting the orc's arm and everything. They're a hilarious force. Here we go. So that is very good. That's going to be another very good roll there for the orcs. It is going to be 5 + 6. So we're going to have a total of 11 dice coming out here. I'm just holding my phone with one hand, so I'm trying to grab the dice with the other. So we got 3, 6, 9, 11. I need 5 pluses to hit here, but that's a lot of dice to roll, so there'll probably be a few 5s in here, and the way they're rolling, it might all be 5s. We'll see. Oop, I jinxed them. This guy here, I just want to see. I'll roll it again. Yeah, so it didn't, nothing hit. So sorry, orcs. This is that terrible aim from them. Those didn't work, but they did try. I'll just take this off, break up the game a little bit here to keep you guys entertained. This is the rocket truck squig buggy. So you can see they have like a little compartment in the back just full of squigs. The one guy here is grabbing a squig to throw it. So they literally just pick the squigs up, and the squigs are just like alive mouths. So they throw that into the vehicle or on the vehicle. There's another one here that's being tossed. You can see by the orc in the passenger side. One's underneath, that's like a mine squig. So he's going to either explode the rocket truck squig buggy, or maybe they threw him there to think that they were going to speed up. I don't know how the orcs think, but whatever they do usually works. That's actually the driver. It's not the passenger. And then we do have a Gretchen on the side there that has the squig launcher. So you can see there's a little squig head poking right out of the cannon there. Hilarious little model. And it's this guy here on the back. He's got some little bite marks, so you could tell a squig was like biting his arm. He was probably pissed off, grabbed it, and now he threw that at the hippogriff. So just hilarious models. There's so much character in them. And there's the dude with the sawn-off shotgun. It looks like he's cracked it, so he fired his 2 rounds. They missed. He's pissed off. You can see his fist is there. So this is almost like the story that's unfolding in front of us is already on this rocket truck squig buggy. But yeah, they're hilarious. So much fun. Anyways, let's get back to the shoots. We're going to do the Ghazghkull now, firing at the Chimera. They also have some pretty good firepower. And then we're going to finish up this one with the Killicans in hand-to-hand combat and the Orc Warboss and Mega Armor in hand-to-hand. Hopefully these Cadian and Astra Militarum can survive it. And then it flips back over to them for their shoot and their hand-to-hand combat. The movement is all going to be decided at the end of the turn, so they literally move each turn. I know that I was saying that they have specific moves, but this is 16 inches. I'm going to say that they're cruising along to those points no matter what, and of course when they get ambushed they can't move until they're able to fend off the defenders. So yeah, back to the tray. We'll get the rest of those shoots done. Maybe I'll do them off camera, sum stuff up, and then we'll get to the hand-to-hand combat. We're going to keep rolling here because this is literally, like there are other Ghazghkull, maybe in the future I won't film those, but I'll get these shoots done because it's a little bit unique for each of the rounds. There's some vehicles that are duplicated, but for the most part they're different models, so I'd like to get those in the tray. So this is the Ghazghkull firing at the Chimera. The Ghazghkull rockets, I'm just checking their notes here. Copter rockets are twin-linked, and they have D3 dice, so there's going to be a possibility of some big attack numbers coming here. And then they are strength 9, which is the same toughness as the Chimera, so some damage could get done here. So we're going to be firing with those copter rockets. It's going to be 3 times D3, so I'm going to split these dice in half and see how many rockets are firing. So you can just imagine the orc has big red buttons on his shifter there, and he's just going crazy firing all of his weapons, probably not wondering or worrying about any kind of ammunition reserves, so he's just firing everything he's got. So here we go. So we have, that is 3, that's turned into a 2, so that's 5, and that is 6. So they have 6 attacks in total, which is pretty good considering. Again though, they have that 5+ ballistic skill, so let's see if they can hit anything. Nothing. They are twin linked though. So they get to shoot again. So here we go. All those get to be re-rolled. So I've mentioned this a few times in previous battles. Twin linked means that you don't get to re-roll your initial hit roll, but you can re-roll the wound roll because there is like an automated targeting system that's allowing them to, I guess, refire. So here we go. 5+ are hits, or our wounds, I should say. So yeah, I'll just read that just to make sure that nothing's changed because there are updates all the time. So weapons with twin linked in their profile are known as twin linked weapons. Each time an attack is made with such a weapon, you can re-roll that attack's wound roll. So yeah, that hasn't changed, and that's what we just did. So still not many hit or wounded. One did this time though, so that is why twin linked is so important. If this is another force, if you're dealing with like Chaos Space Marines or Space Marines or any of those forces that have a better weapon skill, or Eldari that we just saw in that Apocalypse Crusade, you're in trouble because they have some fantastic rolls to help with those twin linked. This one is through though. Again, strength 9 against a toughness 9, so we need a 4 to wound. What am I doing? That's the wound roll. Anyways, we'll keep this going. That did wound. I'm just going to make sure that I'm tracking. I'm way too excited with this fight. I'm really turning into an orc during this battle. I have an Astra Militarum guy with the orcs. Are so much fun to play with. So anyways, that wounded. That could have been our reroll. So actually nothing hits, but we're going to let them do it. So this is -2 to AP. It's going to be a 5+ save. and it was not saved. That is 3 damage. So those things can deal some pretty high damage. I'm just flipping the token here for the Chimera. So we're down to 1, 2, 3, 8 wounds left. That is it for the shoots. I'm just looking at the table again here. We fired our mech gun. We fired the battle wagon, the rocket truck squig buggy, the Def-Coptas. Our storm boys haven't moved yet. Ghazghkull's not in range, so they can't do anything, but we do have the hand-to-hand combat now. So I guess I will break for just a second, get those profiles up, and we'll carry forward with the hand-to-hand combat for the Killicans versus the Torox that have Yarrick in it. And then the Orc Warboss in Mega Armor versus the Centaur RSV that is the 6 o'clock for this convoy. So this is our Killicans. We have, there used to be different profiles with a lot of the vehicles, especially the Orcs. They used to have like, there was a claw, there was a drill, there was some other stuff. Now it's just the cannon claw as their main melee attack. Still pretty damn good, and the strength of it is 8 versus a toughness of 8 for the Torox, so there could be some damage going on here. And the weapon skill for the Gretchen aren't as good as the Orcs, but they still have a 4+, so we'll see how they do. And they're also in a big suit of Killican armor now, so those little Gretchen are feeling invincible. So let's get this going. It is 3 attacks per model, so it's going to be 9 in total. Let's count this. 9, perfect. Hitting on a 4+. This guy here, I always, if it goes up on a curb like that, if it fell this way it would have been a 2, but if it fell this way it would have been a 4 or a 6. So I'm going to reroll this one, and that did hit. So we needed 4 pluses to make that initial hit roll. So I'm back on the clock now, making sure that I'm following the correct rules. So that was our hit. This is strength 8 versus toughness 8. It's going to be a 4 to wound. No reroll here, but just making sure we've got the rules down. So 2 have fallen off. There's no reroll ability there because there is no twin linked. So that is a 4. It is a -2 to AP. That brings our Torox up to a 5+ save. And the Torox has also taken damage, and the Can Claw is 3 damage as well. So our Torox has less wounds to start with too than the Chimera. So it's down to 7 wounds, and Yarrick is in there. So they're going to really have to get stuff going here. And we're not done. So this is the most scary. Another super new vehicle that I was really excited to get going here with the Astra Militarum, that being the Centaur RSV. I got my fingers and toes crossed that the Warboss in Mega Armor is not going to chop it in half, but he definitely has the capability to with that huge choppa. I also didn't initiate a wah yet, but I can do that if I want to in future moves. But he gets a whole bunch of bonuses if a wah is called. And my dog is gacking. You okay, Homer? Okay, you're good to go. Good boy. All right, here we go. So we have the huge choppa. It's going to be huge, Conan. It's going to be huge. All right, hitting on 2+. This is where the Orcs are insane. So awful shooting. This guy's really smart, though, because he has a Gretchen on his back that has a big shooter. So he gets that weapon skill to be a little bit better because he's not actually the one firing the gun. But the huge choppa is 4 attacks hitting on a 2+. Crazy. And no worries there. All 4 are through. It is a strength 12 versus a toughness of 7. It almost doubles it up, but this is going to be 3s to wound. This is an Orc massive model versus a vehicle. It's a half track. And it's going to be 3s to wound here. It's insane. Ooh, and he didn't get it. Let me just see if anything's changed for him, if he has an ability to reroll or anything. Yeah, Dead Brutal, that comes in with the wah. Might is right. While this model is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack. So no, that's not the case either. He's not leading anyone. So 2 have fallen off. 2 are through. It is -2 to AP. That is also going to bring the Centaur save up to a 5+. It does not have an invulnerable. And it has failed both. That is 4 wounds allocated to the Centaur. It goes from 7 wounds. Sorry. It's got 10 wounds. So we have 4. It's going to be down to 6 wounds. So it's literally just chipped away, counting downwards. So the Chimera is at 8, the Taurox is at 7, and the Centaur is at 6. And if the Hippogriff was at the back, it would go 8, 7, 6, 5, but the Hippogriff is at 5 wounds at the front. So that's it. The Astra Militarum have survived that onslaught from the Orc ambush. Show you guys a quick recap before I start doing the Astra Militarum. So here we are. The Astra Militarum are going to be able to fire back. I'm going to state that they were able to kind of right themselves. So like it's pivoting. It's going to start just letting it rip into those kilocans. The weapon layout on this thing too, I have it actually built more with the like Elite Tempestus outlay, but I'm going to see if what's on there for the regular Taurox. I think it has the double autocannons, but I'll have to check the profile. And then in this case too, at the back, they can't really turn around and start to fire into that. So this is going to be a rebuttal kind of counterattack hand-to-hand. They're going to, you know, run over the war boss with the tracks, hoping to hurt him. This I'm going to allow a shoot. The Chimera is also going to be able to rotate its, if this thing isn't glued down. I didn't glue it down. Nice. So with my other hand. Anyways, the turret's going to turn. It's going to put those Deffkoptas in range, and then our Hippogriff is going to try to take some wounds off here. It doesn't really matter. They're just trying to survive the fight because I want to get some kills in here as they move along, but it doesn't really matter because these forces aren't coming back out. Just thought of that. Got a little excited. Just thought of it. So they're going to fight back though, as per, you know, trying to get Yarrick out of here, and we'll see what kind of damage they can do to the Orcs. Maybe in future, if I run this battle again, there'd be a very final turn that wouldn't be one of these tokens, like a number 7 token, and that would be the remaining wave coming back out to fight. I usually like to do that during my last stand at Camp Oil Camp Omega, which is built from last stand at Glazer's Creek. So maybe I'll do that in the future if I run something like this again, whether it's against the Tyranid or Orcs or Chaos Space Marines or something. But I still want to get my Cadian firing, get those weapons going, and see what we can do to this Orc horde. Because all in all, this is the battle for Armageddon, and the more Orcs they can kill, the better it is for the Imperium. So over to the tray. There's going to be pretty much just shoots. These guys can't move. They're stuck. They've been ambushed. And then one hand-to-hand combat. Might do a few things off camera to save some time, and then do the big rolls there to see if our Orc Warboss and Mega Armory gets squashed by the Centaur RSV. But yeah, I'll come back and let you guys know how that all summed up. Definitely want to start off though. We need to get that Hippogriff AFV firing here. It's the first time I've ever used the vehicle, so I want to make sure that we're kind of covering what's going on. Tons of different weapon loadouts for this thing too. I did the Melta-Cannon and Melta-Gun to really get some anti-armor going, but you can do heavy las cannons, Vigilator Cannon. There is the Chiron Gatling Cannon, so tons of different stuff that you can change in and out for the different models that you build of this to kind of accommodate what you need. So if you want to have double impact against vehicles, you can. If you want to have tons of infantry killing abilities, you can do that too. But yeah, on this one, it is going to be the Melta-Cannon and the Melta-Gun. They're both in range. And the nice thing here is we do get the Melta bonus if it is half the distance. I'm just going to check really quick. I don't think we're within the Melta-Gun half distance, which would be 6 inches. But if we're within 9, I might get a Melta bonus here for the Melta-Cannon. And we are. So the Melta-Cannon is just touching the hood of the Rucka Truck Squig Buggy, so he is going to be able to get a Melta bonus. So that 6 inches, no way, but the 9 inch definitely is. So, like the Gretchen of the Orcs, it is a 4+ for us humans to be firing weapons. We are not superhuman with that 3+ weapon skill and ballistic skill of the Space Marines, but we try our best. So here we go. This is going to start up with the Melta-Cannon. It is hitting on a 4+, 2 attacks. 1 is through, 1 is not. Strength 9, toughness 7. It's going to be 3s to wound. Got the wound. That is good. Now the Emperor is looking down upon his Cadian shock troops in Astra Militarum. So that is great. So we do have a 6. That has gone through. It is a -4 to AP. The Rocket Truck Squig Buggy luckily has a 6+ invulnerable, or it would be an 8 save, which is impossible on a D6, so we need a 6 here. Oof. And Gork and Mork did not help them there. So maybe Gork and Mork don't like that they're abusing squigs and throwing them at things and running them over to get more speed. So that has wounded. The Melta-Cannon is D6, but since it's within half range, there's going to be a Melta-2. So here we go. Wow. So that is 8 wounds. The Rocket Truck Squig Buggy is still going because it has 9, but it is down to 1 wound. And there is still the Melta-Gun left on this thing, so we could maybe get an orc kill here. And that Hippogriff is doing a great job of clearing that roadway because the Rocket Truck is right in front of the convoy. So what happened there was the Melta, it hit, it wounded, we did D6 damage, but since it's half range, the Melta-2 ability allows it to have 2 additional damage because it's closer, and the searing heat of the Melta-Blast, which is apparently the same temperature as the sun, is more focused if it's closer. So that is what happened there. We still have the Melta-Gun, which is the same case, just on a smaller platform. So hitting on a 4+. Got it as well. A 6. Wow. Strength 9 as well versus toughness 7. It's going to be a 3 to wound. Got the 3. So right off the bat, we have to see here if the orcs can save. It's going to be that D6, 6+ invulnerable again. And didn't save. So no matter what, the Melta-Gun has destroyed the Rocket Truck Squig Buggy and killed, sadly, all the squigs, but also the orcs on board. So we're just going to see it's not going to get the additional Melta-2, but we'll see how much damage would have happened. And it's 3. So that would have been enough to take it out. If it still had 3 wounds left, it only had 1. So that is a victory for our Cadian. They have destroyed the Rocket Truck Squig Buggy from that round, which is phenomenal. I'm just going to put my wound dice back in here, and I'm going to do the rest of the shoots with the Chimera and the Taurox, and then we'll come back and finish up with the hand-to-hand combat. Woof. I just did the fires from the Chimera, so it's got the multi-laser on it and the heavy flamer. Nothing hit. And I did the Taurox, so I am using the twin autocannons on that. Nothing hit as well with the kilocans. So I don't know if it was because I went off live to do those or not, but nothing happened. Luckily, this isn't going to a second turn for the first chunk because we would be facing almost the entire orc force again, minus the Rocket Truck Squig Buggy. But we're not done yet. I wanted to make sure that we do have hand-to-hand combat here. So not really hand-to-hand combat. It's the Centaur RSV going backwards to try to squash the Orc Warboss in Mega Armor. It still probably weighs a few tons, and it's going to try to crush that Orc Warboss and do some wounds. So the Centaur RSV, again, a new vehicle for me. It has an armored hull, 3 attacks, hitting on a 4+. Yeah, I went back on camera, better rolls. So we lost 1, 2 are through though. Strength 6, toughness 6, 4 is to wound. And 1 is through again. 0 AP though, so that kind of sucks because our Orc Warboss and Mega Armor has a 2+ save. So if it's a 1 here, he's going to take 1 damage. If not, that is it. And he saved it. Another big 6 for our Warboss, and Gork and Mork are looking out for him. So that is it for turn 1. The Cadian have survived. They haven't received any casualties yet other than those Tempestus Aquilons that had the Bubble Chukka fire a dense bubble into them. Might as well pull this off. I'll show you guys while I'm talking. Make it a little bit more interesting. So there was the first casualties. Nothing's changed there since. I could have actually probably tried to fire and plink into this truck, but the battle wagon's got a super high toughness. And I don't even know if they're... that plasma gun might be in range. Anyways, that's okay. This is it for the turn. The orcs are being removed. The All-star here in this round was the Hippogriff. The Melta Cannon and Melta Gun both did great damage. The Ruckatruck Squig Buggy is gone. Was evaporated by that Melta heat. Over here, the rest of the unit couldn't help out. Devcoptas, no damage. Killicans, no damage. Orc War Boss, no damage either. I'll move him back since he got kind of pushed back by the RSV, and the Pain Boy was just there to help his buddy out as a bit of a crony. So we're still going. Oh shit, I totally forgot. We do have our cannons here, so I will be firing those, and I'll come back and let you guys know what happened. Okay, so I'm glad I did that. The two Krieg artillery pieces, the quad launcher and the heavy cannon, I forget what it's called, they did nothing. So the big thing with, if you guys play Astra Militarum, you already know this, but if you're firing with artillery, you need to have someone there that's going to be able to give them an order to get better firepower out of it. They have a 5+, which is not very good. Very, very tough to hit. The oppressor, not the oppressor cannon, that's on the Rogel Dorn, but the, we'll call it the heavy cannon for now. I don't know the exact name of it. It did okay. It got a lot of shots out, but that roll to hit is very difficult. So both artillery pieces kind of fizzled out and didn't do much. They tried to drop some rounds down and help, but not so much. It was the Rogel Dorn, though, with that oppressor cannon that fired into the battle wagon and reduced it by 6 wounds. So it went from 16 down to 10. Good way to finish off this first turn. Now it is going to be the Cadian Astra Militarum moving up to the second token. We'll go over the tray, see what's coming out, or if they get to move over to the third token, if it is a 1, 3, or 5. If it is a 2 or a 6, it's going to be the next group coming out. And every time I roll a dice, I'm not able to roll that again. So if I roll a 1 here, we move up to here. If I roll a 1 here, I have to roll again. If it's a 2 or a 6, that means the next Orc Horde is coming out. But if it's a 3 or a 5, they get to move forward. And then again, we're not going to see that number 4 wave of orcs come out either. So over to the tray in just a sec. I'll move the Astra Militarum up here, remove all the orcs from the table, and then we're going to start our turn 2 and see how that goes. I have to remember to fire the artillery this next time before I finish up the game and the Rogel Dorn, just to make sure that I don't miss that turn, because it is something I might forget as I'm getting carried away with this fight. So yeah, we'll start up turn 2 and be back in just a sec. So the Commissar Yarrick Convoy has moved up to the second Astra Militarum token here. They are continuing down the road. All vehicles banged up a little bit their last turn, but are still running. And they do have all their troops still alive in the back. No one was exploded. So we're now going to go to the tray and see what's coming out here for the orcs during this second wave. And that Death Corps of Krieg cannon is called the Siege Cannon. That's what I was trying to remember. I don't remember if it was called something else before, but Oppressor Cannon on the Rogel Dorn, Siege Cannon for the artillery piece. I'll try to remember that, but I might just continue to call it the Heavy Cannon. We'll see what happens. So here we go. This is going to be the roll now for our next either wave of orcs, or if these Astra Militarum will be able to continue down the road and deliver Yarrick to his next post. It is a 3, so I am going to move the convoy down. They are moving from number 2 token down to number 3. You guys just saw them there at number 2 token. So they've moved down another 16 inches. They have not been ambushed. This, however, is probably the furthest away from token 3 to 4 corner is probably the furthest away. I'm not even sure if that's within range of the Siege Cannon and the Oppressor Cannon, but they do have the support of the Salamander Lieutenant and the Aquilons over there, so they should be able to jump in. So let's see what happens here. So we can't roll another 3 or another 4. Here we go. And 4 has been rolled, so we have to roll again. 4 has been rolled again. 6. So they're at token 3, and the 6th group of orcs is coming out. That is this group right here, led by the Weird Boy We've got some bikers, we've got the Def Dreads, we've got another battle wagon, and we have the Ghazghkull Morkanaut. So this is going to be tricky. Show you guys over here just where our Astra Militarum are on the table. So point 2 is about here. They have now moved up to point 3, and the ambush, there's no side of the road here, so that's a benefit, but the orcs can come in from behind or from any of this area here or here. It is nice to have the Aquilons and the Lieutenant a little bit closer, so they might be able to get into hand-to-hand combat during that move, but there could also be another Bubble Chukka coming at them, because the orcs do get the ambush first move here. And being at point 3, you guys can see that compound is pretty far away. It's a 4-foot range there for the siege cannon, and I believe the oppressor cannon has a 72-inch, so it should be good. But it is pretty far right now, so that artillery support might not be able to help this time. So I'm going to get those orcs set up, and we're going to start the number 2 ambush for the orc force. Been about 24 hours since I took part in this one last. I had some ideas as well while I was at work today. I am going to allow the Astra Militarum the first move, shoot, and hand-to-hand combat here. Kind of makes sense. So they were ambushed for the first turn. They were able to move down the road, and now they know that there are more orcs coming. They can either hear that big Ghazghkull Morkanaut coming down with its big stomps, or the engines revving over the horizon. So they've jumped out of their vehicles for kind of an all-around defense here, pointing out towards the open field to make sure that anything coming is going to be taking a ton of lasgun fire. We have tons of orders here as well. The Castellan, Yarrick, and Graves can all give orders. Graves's are a little bit different, but I'll let you guys know when we get over to the tray in a second. I have not put the orcs out yet, but I am going to allow the orcs to set up based off of how the Astra Militarum have come out of their vehicles. And we also do have the Tempestus Scions, or the Tempestus Aquilons, with that Salamander Lieutenant still up on the flat top rock. So they can also move when those orcs start to come down, and maybe they can try to ambush them a little bit from behind. But so cool seeing these vehicles lined up. We have Arcadian with Graves. We have those Mordian Iron Guard with their perfect drill behind Commissar Yarrick. We have the Castellan and the Primaris Psyker with another 10 section of Cadian behind, and then they have all of their vehicles. Hippogriff, Chimera, Taurox, and the Centaur RSV. So let's get this one going. I'm going to get the orcs down on the table, and from there we are going to see how this one happens for turn 2. Hopefully the Cadian can fight back a bit here, dwindle some of the orc numbers, because number 6 is a big horde, as you guys saw yesterday. So here we go. I'm going to go set them up, and we'll get right over the tray, show you guys where the orcs are, and we'll keep this one going. Those Astra Militarum guns have spun around. Their enemy has come up over the hills and from across the horizon, and this is the number 6 second wave of orcs for this fight. We have the Warbikers coming in there. We have the Ghazghkull Morkanaut staring down Yarrick, and Yarrick is definitely up for a scrap. If he can add a massive Ghazghkull claw to his arm, he might try to do that. And then we have the Primaris Psyker staring down the Weird Boy with the 2 Def Dreads on either side. The Castellan also wants a piece of those. And we have the Hippogriff that is going to be firing at the Battle Wagon. There's also these Aquilons in the back with the Primaris Lieutenant that are going to be jumping down to help out, because this whole battle is about getting this guy right here, Commissar Yarrick, from the outpost, from the start of this fight, off the table, past his Bowser, in this case, Ghazghkull. So I'm going to get to the tray. There is going to be some moves here, so I might check this out, see what kind of moves we got. Seeing Yarrick and the Salamander Lieutenant kind of pinning this thing in between the two of them would be hilarious. We'll see how that goes, but a Ghazghkull Morkanaut is definitely a very tall order to fill. But I'm going to do some strategy here, maybe make some moves, make sure I got lots of range. I don't want people to be shooting each other in the back, so I'm probably going to move Graves out to the right. Yarrick will probably jump in there. We'll see what's going on. And then these vehicles can also start to shoot, and then right after that, the orcs are going to be coming in. Hand-to-hand combat, range, whatever they're going to do, because they want to capture Yarrick, kill all of these Umis, and keep Armageddon theirs. So let's do some moves, come back, show you guys that real quick, and then over to the tray. Well, holy shit, crazy old Yarrick went right into hand-to-hand combat. Who would have thunk it against a Ghazghkull? So here we go. Around the back too, the poor Salamander lieutenant's like, this old guy's going to get me killed. And you know what? That's probably going to be the case because the lieutenant's going to be taking any wounds that are coming back if this thing is able to rebut. The thing here is Yarrick doesn't have a great weapon, so his power claw is going to be a lot stronger, so it's actually a pretty good strategy because the storm bolter would have probably plinked right off of the armor of this thing. A few other things going on here. We had Graves step to the side. She's going to be firing with this Cadian line here into the Warbikers. The vehicles, heavy stubber, the autocannons, the multi-laser are going to be firing at this Death Dread here. We have the Primaris Psyker who is going to be taking on the Weird Boy. They're doing kind of an old school standoff of psychic warp might. I drove this thing almost right up to the front of the battle wagon because I want to get all of the Melta bonus that I can. If this thing is going down here, I wanted to make sure that it's going out with a bang, literally, and it might take this thing with it. We will see if those Meltas roll well. The Cadian section here too on the other side of the Chimera will also be firing into that Death Dread. The only thing here, Yarrick did go into hand-to-hand, so they don't want to shoot at him because they could blow him up. And the Mordian Iron Guard that were in the same vehicle as him are going to be firing upon those Warbikers as well. So we're going to move over to the tray. The Aquilons too, they're still up there. They're going to be firing too, most likely down at this Death Dread. Some orders are also going to be conducted. I would think Yarrick is probably a veteran enough commander to be in hand-to-hand combat and still yelling orders to the Mordian Iron Guard behind him. That is his section. So there's going to be a couple orders coming down there to help them hopefully rip apart those Warbikers. Graves doesn't have the ability to do any kind of take aim or first rank fire, second rank fire, but she can do hand-to-hand, so I'm going to lock that one in. We'll get into that behind the camera. And then the Castellan here, I forgot about him. He has gone in with his little pug buddy. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I have, of course, Homer. You guys saw him a little while ago. There's a little model here. It's a pug in like, it looks like flak armor or something. So I've put him in. He's definitely not Warhammer 40K. He's an extra little model that I got. He's in beside the Castellan fighting this Death Dread. Don't worry, he's not going to be killed. The pug will run away. I'm not going to have a great little dog get killed by an evil orc machine. So yeah, over to the tray. We'll get that going, and that'll be the end for the Astra Militarum turn 2. It flips over to the orcs. We'll see what kind of damage they can do because this might be a very big round. We also do, down the road, have the compound here. So there is going to be some fire coming from any vehicles in range. A few of them might just be out of range, but we have the Rogaldorn that definitely has the range there with the Oppressor Cannon, 72 inches. The quad launcher and then the siege cannon will all be firing at any models that they can hit and in range. I'm looking at that battle wagon. I think having that kind of artillery just drop right on top of this thing would be fantastic. And you can see just over the horizon, they're there in the compound. So I'm hoping that that's in range and we can drop some rounds on this thing because it has 16 wounds. Anyways, all the shoots, and I'll cover some of the orders and stuff in just a second in the tray. All right, over in the tray. So I'm going to read over a few things here. We'll use Yarrick as an example. So if you guys aren't Astra Militarum players, they have a very cool ability now. Wasn't always the case with them, but they're able to issue orders. So each of them, of course, has a leadership role, so you can check their leader profile, see what kind of unit they can actually lead. And then voice of command are the orders that they can give. So for Commissar Yarrick, I'll just use him as the example here. It's a little different for each of the other models, but this officer, which is Yarrick, can issue up to 2 orders to regiment, squadron, or Titanic units. So the keyword's very important. Regiment would be anything here that's infantry. Your squadron would be your tanks, things like that. And then Titanic units would be a Baneblade, so he can do pretty much anything. He's a very well-versed, probably 100-year-old human man. Might have some enhancements going on, I'm not sure. That, you know, he's survived so much just pain and agony and strapping an orc arm onto his arm after losing it, so he's something else. But yeah, we're going to be using that. The 2 orders that I am going to give, so after you know how many orders are issued and to what, you do the voice of command. So he is going to be controlling the Mordian Iron Guard behind him. And the 2 orders that we're going to issue here are first rank fire, second rank fire, which is improve the attack characteristics of rapid fire weapons equipped by models in this unit by 1. I'll have to double check, but that should be all the las guns. I don't think they have a plasma gun in there. They have a melta-gun and a grenade launcher, but they are going to be able to have any of the rapid fire weapons have an extra attack. And they're also going to do the take aim. And this is what is so important with artillery pieces. So I was saying during the first turn there, the siege cannon and the quad launcher, not great. If you have someone that has the orders ability and can give voice of command, the take aim is phenomenal for artillery pieces. So what that does is it improves the ballistic skill characteristic of ranged weapons equipped by models in that unit by 1. So that means that any Astra Militarum character that usually has a 4+, unless it's Kasserkin or someone who's elite like the Tempestus, they usually have a 4+, which is a pretty hard roll to make. That makes it a 3+, which is on the same level as Space Marines. So a very, very cool one. That is what is going to be going on with Commissar Yarrick and those Mordian Iron Guard. The Castellan can give orders as well. I believe it's 2 still, and he's probably going to be giving the same 2 to the Cadian unit behind him while he is tied up with the Death Dread. And then Graves is not able to do the take aim, as I was saying. Her orders are the only one she can give. It's to regiment units as well, strictly, so she can't do squadron, she can't do Titanic, but it is move, 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 duty and honor, and fixed bayonets. So those bikes are super close. I am going to give that 1 order of fixed bayonets, which is going to help them in hand-to-hand combat if those orc warbikers want to just smash into hand-to-hand combat, which is probably an orky way to do things. And that order is, I'll just read it here. So fixed bayonets is improve the weapon scale characteristics of melee weapons equipped by models in this unit by 1. So that means that they're 4+ for any close combat weapons, power swords, chain swords, anything like that is also increased by 1. So you get a 3+ roll instead of a 4+ roll. If you have someone like that commanding Kasserkin, though, their 3 goes to a 2. And they are absolutely deadly because of the weapons that they have allocated to them. They're an expensive unit, but I love my Kasserkin. It was too expensive for this fight. I wanted to keep this group under kind of the 1,200, 1,500 point range, so we were able to do that. But yeah, I'm going to get some of the shoots going, I think, off camera, and then we'll definitely get the hand-to-hand combat all on camera. So I'll be back in a little bit, let you guys know what happened with the shoots first, and then we'll take it away and do the hand-to-hand. Just about halfway through the shoot phase, I wanted to have one on camera. This is going to be the Cadian Shock Troop section behind the Cadian Castellan. They're going to be firing at the Death Dread to their left. The round has not been going well so far. Both Krieg heavy weapon artillery pieces did not do well. Again, that 5+ is super difficult to do without an officer kind of leading that and giving orders. The Castellan does have the ability to give 2 orders, but they are to regiment units. So that is infantry. He can't give it to squadron, but these are Cadian shock troops, so that's perfect. And the 2 orders that I am locking in, as I stated, is the take aim, which is going to be an additional 1 to ballistic skill, and then first rank fire, second rank fire, which is going to have all of the las guns in that unit. And I don't see a plasma gun, but that's okay. Any rapid fire weapons are going to have an additional attack. So I'm going to grab those dice all now while we're live, just to make sure that if you guys are learning or just want to play Astra Militarum and have never done it before, they're one of my my favorite force for sure. So the las gun is a rapid fire 1. It usually takes a 4+ ballistic skill. This turns into a 3+ ballistic skill, and it is going to be 2 attacks per las gun. So we'll start up with that. There are 2, 4, 6, 7 las guns in here. I also have the sergeant in this unit with an auto gun. It's not rapid fire. I just wanted to check. So it is going to be 14 dice here. I usually have 20 lined up, which is always nice and easy to count from. So here we go. This is usually 7 attacks. It's now 14 because of the first rank fire, second rank fire. So you can imagine the Castellan is getting these guys back into boot drill. There's, the first rank is going to drop to their knee. The second rank behind is going to fire, kind of like old musket warfare and strategy. So let's see how this goes. And also these are now 3+, which is phenomenal. They're terrible strength versus a Def Dread with a toughness of 9, but there might just be enough shots here that something could go through the Def Dread's eye hole, maybe hit a fuel tank, and do some damage. So let's see what happens. So anything that is below a 3 is not going to count. We can't reroll any of these, so I'm going to remove those as kind of our casualty dice that didn't fire. So that means the las gun, the battery packs were overheating, or they just were snapping off shots too crazy, and that I don't want to say a laser gun can jam, but it jammed. So this is how many shots we have through. This is where it's going to suck, but we're going to try here. It is a strength 3 weapon firing against a toughness of 9, a massive metal machine that has an orc in it. So this is the same as kind of a Primaris Space Marine dreadnought. But an orc is in there strapped in, pissed off, and is trying to kill everything in front of him. So here we go. This is going to be 6s to wound. Let's see if the Emperor is looking down upon these guys. Oof, that's the hard one. So we got a couple. That's not too bad. In 30K, what are they called again? Like the Yasha Militarum Forces back then, I always forget, but their las rifles actually have a -1 to AP, which is really good. It would be kind of cool if that rule ever came down for the Canadian shock troops or anyone using las guns. So the Katachin, I don't know who we're going to get to. I've seen like the Vostroyan came back out again. You guys have seen Morty and Iron Guard on the table here. I'm really hoping they start bringing back some kill team packs or something, because I'd love to collect just like Valhallan Ice Warriors again, all of them. It'd be sick. But anyways, a -1 would be wicked. So Games Workshop, if you guys are watching, please, if they're doing it, first rank fire, second rank fire, maybe a new order that allows all the las guns to kind of be like firing in the same direction, like in Ghostbusters when they cross the streams and it turns into one big blast. That would be sick, just as kind of a special overload of their guns. I don't know, maybe it could be hazardous. I'm worth, they're worth, what, 70, 75 points? So if you kill a unit with some hazardousness and they destroy or take some wounds off a Def Dread, it might be worth it. Anyway, so these two are through. It is 0 AP because that cool rule does not exist yet. So the Def Dread has its regular 2+ save. Actually, it did have a wound removed from it, and that was from the Chimera. So it is down to a 7 from its original 8. So maybe I'll roll Snake Eyes here and it'll have a couple more wounds taken off. Let's see. That is not Snake Eyes. So that's 2 4s. That is a good roll. The Def Dread has taken all of the shots from the las guns, but that rule is still in place. It's not going to be for the remaining models, but the take aim is. So their ballistic skill is better. So we'll move over now to the Sergeant's auto gun, which is a really cool weapon. I love that they brought the auto pistol back for the Krieg combat engineers. And I love that there's an auto gun with like the belt fed. It's pretty sick. So this is hitting on a 3+ now instead of a 4+ because of take aim. And 1 fell off, couldn't get a 3 there. That sucks. Anyways, it's strength 3 again versus that toughness 9. Need a 6, didn't get it. So the auto gun is pretty much like maybe 7.62 round or maybe even a 5.56. It's just like an old school belt-fed machine gun in the year 40,000 versus massive orc walkers. So next up is going to be the Flamer. The Flamer doesn't really get any benefit from that take aim, and that's because this is a torrent weapon. So it hits automatically. We just have to see how many shots it's actually going to do, or how many models it's going to affect, or how many wounds it's going to be able to deliver. And that's terrible. So the rolls are starting to turn here. 6 is the best that you want to see there. It's a D6 roll. So this is literally 1. So it's hit automatically because it's a Flamer. It's gouting the Def Dread in flame. But now we have to wound it. So the Flamer is a strength 4, a little higher than the las gun and the auto gun. Still against a toughness of 9. So it's doubled up. It's going to need a 6 to wound. And I saw a 6 for a second and it turned into a 3. So that also didn't work. Oh. Last but not least, I'm going to load up a crack grenade into the grenade launcher there. This is our last weapon in this squad, and I'm very worried about these guys because they're going to be taking on a massive Def Dread in a second if the range is there for it to get into hand-to-hand. But yeah, the crack grenade is probably the best bet here. Again, usually a 4+, this is going to be a 3+ because of take aim. Please get a 3. Yes, we got a 5. It is strength 9 for the crack versus a toughness of 9, so we need a 4 to wound. I haven't been rolling great, so that's good to see. We got a 5. -2 to AP, which is going to be a 4+ from the Def Dread's usual 2+. And he got a 6. So Gork and Mork are looking down on their Def Dread orcs, protecting them very well. I just wanted to show you guys that, kind of how that works with the orders for a regiment unit. We've moved kind of through half the convoy. Now I'm going to go to the Morning Iron Guard, the Taurox, the remaining Cadian, Graves, and the Centaur RSV. I'll do that all off camera. Do a quick sum up, show you guys what's happened there, if any orc models were wounded or killed, and then we're going to get into hand-to-hand. The Salamander Lieutenant teamed up with Yarrick in a double dragon attack on this Gorkanaut, and the Psychic attack I'll probably do as well. I haven't done that yet from the Primaris Psyker against the Weird Boy. One of their heads is probably going to pop, but I'm hoping that's going to be the Weird Boys and not the Primaris Psyker, but we'll see. And then there's also the Castellan and his little pug versus the other Def Dread. That's probably not going to end well, but I promise the pug will not get hurt. I'm going to put him into the back of the Centaur, and if the Centaur gets exploded later on, I'm going to let the pug jump out the back and escape the battlefield. So I'll do the shoots, come right back, and let you guys know what's up. Just finished up the Cadian Astra Militarum shoot. The Tempestus Aquilon with the Plasma Carbine definitely went hazardous with it, supercharged it, killed 3 of the fellow Aquilons, so there's just the Sergeant and the Sentry Gun remaining, but the Def Dread from that was brought down to 1 wound, and this thing took punishment from all over the table. It is still there, which is not good. Because there's a very good possibility it will be going to hand-to-hand combat against the Primaris Psyker, possibly teamed up with the Weird Boy. We still have the hand-to-hand combat to go for the Castellan and Yarrick, but I'm going to sum up the shoot. So starting with the Hippogriff, I fired. Both weapons did not shoot. Very tough rolls to make once again, and he does not have an officer to help him out. So he tried with the Melta-Gun and the Melta-Cannon. Nothing happened. The truck, however, was wounded. It went down to 13 wounds, and that was because of our buddy way over there in the Rogel Dorn. The Oppressor Cannon fired and was able to do 3 wounds. Not a great roll, not a great roll across the table. I also found out that the las gun, and I don't know why I didn't remember this because Astra Militarum is my army, but it's usually rapid fire 1, and that would mean that it is half of 24 inches, 12 inches, which all of these models are in. That is an additional 1. With the first rank fire, second rank fire, that should have also been another. So it's like chess. I've done the move. I can't take it back, but I should have had another at least 7 shots from each of these sections firing in. They're still at strength 3, but it might have done a few more wounds. So the Weird Boy as well was attacked by the Primaris Psyker. I did not do a hazardous with the Primaris Psyker, just did the regular witch fire. It wasn't supercharged or anything, and there was wound taken off of the Weird Boy. We still have Castellan and Yarrick with the Lieutenant around the back to go. We'll get to the tray in a sec for that. The Mordian Iron Guard and the Cadian here, along with Commissar Graves, fired into the Orc Warbikers, and they were able to take the biker on the back left down to 1 wound. The Centaur RSV, as well as the Taurox with those twin autocannons. This is not the proper loadout. This is supposed to be on the Tempestus Scion version of the Taurox. So it's just the 2 side-mounted autocannons. They fired as well into the Def Dread 2. So that's another reason why it's down to 1 wound. It took a lot of firepower. It's still going, though. It's a very, very strong, durable unit. That is about it for the shoots. So now we are going to get to the hand-to-hand combat, sort that out. If Yarrick goes down here, that's the end of the battle because they're trying to get him out. Maybe that was Yarrick's plan the whole time. He'd rather go down fighting a Gorkanaut than be taken by Ghazghkull, aka Bowser here, being a Princess Peach, like I mentioned at the start of the game. So anyways, we'll get to the hand-to-hand, over to the tray. Hopefully Yarrick can do some damage here with that Lieutenant helping. Lieutenant's going to be taking all of the wounds from the counterattacks if that does happen. And Yarrick actually does have an ability to come back into the fight after he has been killed if the proper rules are done. So let's see if this is the end of the fight or if this is going to continue for the 2 more turns. One being a easy move to token 4, and then we'll see what happens there because we still have the orc number 2 line to come out, which is led by the big mech. So yeah, over to the tray. Let us start, kind of warm up my dice rolling hand here for the hand-to-hand combat phase with the Castellan. Balls of steel here going in against something that probably has balls of steel. So here we go. It is a power fist that the Castellan has, not the strength of a Space Marine power fist, but a power fist nonetheless, so stronger than a human hand. See if it does anything here. This is hitting on a 3+. All are through. Warming up the hand, good to go. All right, so strength 6 versus toughness 9. Gonna need 5s to wound. There it is, 5, 6, 6. Okay, I'm glad I'm warming up with this. I hope that carries over to Yarrick and the Salamander Lieutenant. So this is a -2 to AP. Those attacks have gone through. There are 3 attacks in total, which is phenomenal. And that brings the Death Dread from a 2+ up to a 4+ save. So not as easy as you would think. And that is 2 damage per if these are not saved. So looking for anything below a 4 if you guys are cheering for the Astra Militarum. If you guys are Greenskin fans, you want to see 4+. And not bad. So this one has saved. That's a 6. We have a 1 and a 3 though. 2 damage per. So that is 2 4 damage that has been allocated to the Death Dread. Even if the Castellan goes down here, he has taken this thing down half of its wounds, which is pretty impressive. You know, an average sized man taking on probably a 1.5, 2-story mechanical creature. So that's it for the Castellan. Sadly, the Death Dread is going to be able to fight back. It does have the Dread Claw. Strength 12. Oh my god, what have I done to this poor Castellan? And the Stompy Feet, which does not say that I have to choose, so this is extra attacks that can be used as well. So it's snipping at him with the Dread Claw, and it's also stomping with its Stompy Feet. Very orcish as well, the Stompy Feet. I love it. So here we go. I'm going to start up with the Dread Claw. It's 4 attacks, hitting on a 3+. These things are fucking really good. And all of those are through, so Gork and Mork is helping this thing out as well. Strength 12 versus a toughness of 3. This is going to be 2s to wound. So one's fallen off. Those are through. Luckily, the Castellan does have an invulnerable 5+ save, so that might save him. He's going to need it here. The Dreadclaw is a -2 to AP, which would usually bring him up to a 7+. That dice roll is impossible, so it's going to be a 5+ invulnerable here. 3 damage per for anything that goes through. And our Castellan has a total of 4 wounds. So we're looking for 5s. Oh no. So 1 was saved. The Castellan has perished though. That is 6 wounds against his 4. He put up a hell of a fight. He was able to take this Death Dread down, so that is good. He has been killed though. That means that his orders also fall off. I've just put the pug into the back of the Centaur RSV as promised, so they took him in. It's okay, buddy. I know you loved your Castellan master, but Castellan Cage is dead. So they're taking care of the little pug. All right, now over to the big one. This is Yarrick and the Salamander Lieutenant versus one of the largest models in the Orc lineup, and that is, in this case, a Gorkanaut. We'll get to its stats in a second. It is not going to be pretty here, but let's see. I just want to see Yarrick and this Lieutenant just kick the shit out of this thing. So let's see what happens. They can give it a couple of dents. Yarrick can kick it with his metal-toed boots and rip away at it with the claw. So we're going to start up with Power Claw. He also has the Power Sword. There's no selection there either with the profiles. He definitely has both on his person. So he, holsters his Storm Bolter and can attack with the Power Sword as well. So let's start it up. We're going to start up with that Power Claw. He took this from an Orc War Boss in the past. I believe on the fields of Armageddon, I don't know, 12 Armageddon battles ago. Going back to 97 in the second edition box that started this whole thing for me. I also have the original Yarrick. Maybe I'll show you guys him at the end. Very old school pewter model. Looks kind of janky, but very cool. And I'm so happy I have that original model. Anyways, here we go. So this is hitting on a 2+ because Yarrick is an absolute beast. So here we go. Shite, one fell off. 3 are through. It is strength 8 versus the Ghazghkull's toughness of 12. Not doubling it up, so this is going to be 5s to wound. Oh no, and Yarrick's claw just kind of scraped across the front of it. Didn't do any real damage. Let's see if he can slice any kind of cables or anything with his Power Sword. This is 6 attacks hitting on a 2+. All of those are through. Much lower strength. Strength 4 versus toughness 12. This is going to be 6s to wound. Oh, and Yarrick wasn't able to pull it off there, guys. I'm sorry. I was hoping for at least a couple of wounds, but what they're taking on is something that is massive. We do still have the Salamander Lieutenant, though, and that is going to be a stronger Power Fist than what we saw with our Castellan. So the Power Fist for the Primaris Lieutenant is 4 attacks, hitting on a 2+. That one falls off. Strength 8, toughness 12, 5s to wound. If this fell that way, I'm gonna re-roll it. Nothing. So that's the end of that. It was worth a shot. Yeah. Now we get to have the Ghazghkull fight back, and I'm going to read you guys its profile here. These attacks are first going to go on to the Lieutenant. And we're going to see if the Lieutenant can survive it. There's 2 profiles. So there's the Claw of Gork Strike. 5 attacks, hitting on a 3+, strength 18. So this is the same kind of level as like a Baneblade tank. We had the Wraith Knight there in my Eldari game just before this one. That's the kind of league that this thing is in. Just having a sip of coffee. Keep going. So it's strength 18, -3, 6 damage. I'm going to do the Claw of Gork sweep because it's more than enough strength to probably take care of this Lieutenant. It is 15 attacks, hitting on a 3+, strength 8, -1 to AP, and 2 damage per. So since they're both locked in here, and I always get that rule confused, and since this battle is pivoting on Yarrick, and I don't think Ghazghkull is happy that the Ghazghkull is in hand-to-hand combat, so I think Ghazghkull would probably be sending him some kind of Gork and Mork telepathy saying, don't kill my Princess Peach that is Commissar Yarrick. I want to take him back to my castle and do whatever to him. It's terrible, but it's not what you think. It's more like torture. So we're going to do this all against the Salamander Lieutenant. I'm so sorry, Salamander Lieutenant, but that is why you're in here. You are supposed to protect Yarrick. And the Lieutenant right off the bat was like, fuck. He sees this guy going into hand-to-hand combat. He's got this ridiculous orc claw on his hand already. And he's like, oh, god damn it, Yarrick. I'm going to have to lay my life down on this Armageddon battlefield to make sure that you can keep the convoy going down the road. So here we go. This is the Claw of Gork sweep. 15 attacks, hitting on a 3+. One came out. It was a 5. Smaller tray. I should have maybe used my brown one, but it's got my Finnigan 40K logo, so I'm keeping it there so you guys can check out the hashtags and the Instagrams and the YouTubes and all that stuff. So these are all through. A couple fell off. Strength 8 versus toughness 4. It's going to be 2s to wound. God damn. Every single one through. Why can I not do that with my Astra Militarum? I roll so many 1s, so many 2s with them, and it doesn't work for Astra Militarum. You need 3s or 4s usually. So anyways, it's -1 to AP. That's a lot of dice to pick up. I'm going to now use this to save for the Primaris Lieutenant. It is a -1 that brings the lieutenant up to a 3+ save. He also does not have an invulnerable, which is pretty crazy. I'm just seeing if he has any abilities that are going to help him out. No, he does not. Unless war gear abilities. There is a possibility of a storm shield, but this lieutenant model does not have it. So it is going to be 4+ to save. And I'm going to remove anything that is not a 4+. This is 2 damage. 2 damage per. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 versus the lieutenant's 4 wounds. So he has been killed ×2. All right, so back to the battlefield here. I'll sum everything up in a second. That lieutenant has died, so I'm going to have to remove him from the table, and we'll keep this one going. With that absolutely terrible performance by Yarrick, he is converted back to his mid-90s model. There he is, the original pewter Commissar Yarrick. I'll just show you guys for a second. I repainted him pretty recently, but it is tough to paint with pewter. Most of my Catachin are actually pewter. They're a lot harder to paint than the plastic models. I don't know if you guys can get that. Yeah, there we go. It's a little bit better. But there he is, the original. Pretty cool. He's got more of like a snapper claw. Looks like a crab hand. I don't have the banner on anymore. And then his storm bolter is more of just a bolt gun with like a chain magazine kind of feed on it. And then he has a little dead creature on it there. But there he is, the original. I'll put him down and just compare the new one to him. So I'd say a pretty big glow up for Yarrick. The claw is massive. He's got the storm bolter now. It's pretty legit. So I'm going to place him back on the table. Goodbye 1995-ish Yarrick, and hello 2026 Yarrick. So there we go. 11th edition around the corner. The new Yarrick is here holding it down. He just took on a fucking Gorkanaut. Ghazghkull doesn't want him killed though, so he told the Gorkanaut to lay off. Anyways, here is the sum up. And as we saw, that lieutenant no longer in behind trying to help out. Not a great round by the Astra Militarum, even though they had the initiative there. And it is going to be back to the Orcs now to probably clean up a lot of these models. I hate to say it, but I don't know how much of the convoy is going to be left after this, but we're going to get to it. And let's see how this goes. So over to the Orcs. I'm going to do their moves, come back, show you guys what's up there, and then we will move on to shoots and any hand-to-hand combat that's going on. And having a blast with the Orcs, there's definitely going to be some hand-to-hand combat going on. All right, be back in a sec. There's Homer having a bit of a drink there. Good job, buddy. We're going to have to fill his water dish. It's getting low. And to show you guys too, the pug is currently safe in the back of the Centaur RSV. He's just in between those 4 troops. Can't say the same about the Cadian or the Mordian Iron Guard or any of the character models because they are not safe. So the bikers have gone straight into hand-to-hand combat with the Cadian shock troops and Graves. The Gorkanaut has not listened to Ghazghkull and he's gone into hand-to-hand combat. It is stomping forward with those stompy feet, right into hand-to-hand combat with the Mordian Iron Guard and Yarrick. Luckily, once again, Yarrick can send those wounds on to the Mordian Iron Guard first. The poor guys, they haven't been in the game since, like, again, 1997, and they're into it. Over here, the Death Dread that the Castellan was able to wound is in hand-to-hand combat with this squad of Cadian. And last but not least, we do have the Primaris Psyker being double-teamed by the Death Dread and the Weird Boy. And then the weapon systems on this battle wagon will be firing into the Hippogriff. The Hippogriff is also down to 5 wounds, so it's wounded. This is it. We're going to see what kind of convoy is left after this. And then it's going to flip over to turn 3. So here we go. I'm going to do the shoots off camera. Probably a lot of the hand-to-hand combat, but we'll definitely get Yarrick in there and his Mordian Iron Guard against the Gorkanaut. Quick sum up here before we get to Yarrick and those Mordian Iron Guard versus the Gorkanaut. Primaris Psyker absolutely shredded by the Death Dread and the Weird Boy. The Weird Boy wasn't even needed. The Death Dread was able to do enough damage. This Death Dread here wiped out an entire section of 10 Cadian. He had just finished off the Castellan as well, so that thing has done great this round. This is still to come in just a second. Yarrick and his Morning Iron Guard versus the Ghazghkull. And then over here, pretty fucking awesome. So the Warbikers came in with huge choppas and choppas. They were able to kill 6 of the Cadian shock troops. I've got to get up to bed soon. I'm up tomorrow at like 4:45 to get into work, so I need to get upstairs to shower. But we'll definitely finish off this turn. And they did a counterattack. One of the close combat weapons, not the chainsword from the sergeant, but one of the close combat weapons was able to kill that orc that had the 1 wound that was on the left. So stabbed him in the eye or something. I don't know what happened there. Or maybe threw the knife into the motorcycle and it crashed and he died. I'm not sure. And then Commissar Graves, pretty badass. She went in. She was able to kill the other orc warbiker by herself with the 3 wounds and actually injure the boss knob on the bike. So that does conclude the turn other than Yarrick. So we're going to see how he does. It's going to be the Ghazghkull's initiative though. Those wounds coming down from the Claw of Gork is going to be against the Iron Guard first. This time they are fighting as unit. It's not 1-on-1 of 2 characters, so those wounds can spill over to Yarrick. The other great thing here too from this side was Graves did the fixed bayonets at the beginning of that turn, so they had better rolls as well to fight back against the Warbikers. That is not the case here. So Yarrick gave them the orders for better fire command with take aim and first rank fire, second rank fire, but there is no fixed bayonets here, so these guys are going to be going in pretty cold, weren't able to warm up, and they're taking on a 5-story beast of a machine, the Ghazghkull. Claw of Gork sweep profile again. This is going to be 15 attacks, hitting on a 3+. Could be devastating. We'll see what happens here. They do have Yarrick in front of them though, holding it down. This is his convoy and he's not going to take shit from anything, let alone a Ghazghkull. So here we go, 3+. Okay, so almost half seem to have fallen off there. Not half, but 5. Also, the Cadians, they rolled their okay last turn. I was kind of at the start of this one with the shoots, not great, but that was a bit better. So hopefully the orcs don't roll well here. We keep going that. Oh yeah, and you guys can see my new lineup behind here. I have the Primary Psyker, the old Yarrick model, and the Salamander Lieutenant. Anyways, here we go. This is strength 8 coming in against a toughness of 3. It's going to be 2s to wound. All of those have wounded. That is -1 to AP. Ay. So this is going to be 6+ saves for the Cadian shock troops. And a couple were saved. So they're able to kind of dip and dodge that Gork claw. These 2 were saved. These are all through though, and that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 wounds. I'm just going to see here with Yarrick, just to figure out. His toughness is 4, it's higher. So Yarrick has survived this again. I'm going to say that Ghazghkull's given that command. He may have been knocked down there, but Ghazghkull's like, don't hurt my friend, my Yumi friend Yarrick. The Wa hasn't been called yet either. That's probably going to be coming in the final round there. So we have had the entire Mordian Iron Guard section killed that was behind Yarrick there, supporting him, killed by the Ghazghkull. I am going to remove those orc models to make sure the table is all cleaned up for the final turn, but we're going to roll first to see what's coming out. So what we have remaining is a 1 and a 5, which would move them down 2 more tokens. And then there is the 2 that is the last group to come out, and that is led by the Big Mech. There's some Squig Hog boys in there, some more Def-Coptas, a truck, and a battle wagon. So also another really good lineup. We still have the Storm Boys as well as Ghazghkull waiting, and then there is the Bubble Chukka also. So here we go. Let's see what's coming out. It is the next wave. So the Cadian Astra Militarum Convoy has moved from disc 3 to disc 4. I'll show you guys that in just a sec when I clean up the table. And that is the second wave of orcs coming out here, which is another tall order to fill. The last two have to be a 1 and a 5. So if they do survive that wave, they're going to take on Ghazghkull at the end. They don't have to defeat Ghazghkull, they just have to survive him. And Yarrick is still going, so they're gonna hop back in their vehicles, whoever's left. There's not many. I'll show you guys that in a second. And then we're gonna take this one into the final round probably tomorrow. It's Friday night. I should be able to get this one through, maybe even edited. We'll see what's going up maybe for a Saturday release. But that is it for the second wave of orcs. And we're moving on to the third and final wave of orcs, followed by the last two discs and Ghazghkull after that. But there'll be a whole bunch of stuff before that. So I'll do a quick sum up in just a second when I clean the table and come right back and let you guys know what's up. So the Convoy has made it to disc number 4. As you guys just saw, rolled in the tray was 2. So that means the big mech wave is coming out. Yarrick has moved up into the Chimera tank, a bit higher toughness, still has the most wounds. And the Aquilon has joined him with the sentry gun because there's no point in staying on top of that hill anymore. They know what's coming. In the Taurox, we have the remaining Cadian shock troop squad and Commissar Graves. The Centaur RSV is going to be supporting with its heavy stubber, which is kind of like a 50 cal in the 41st millennium. And we do have the Castellan's Pug still in the back there who did survive that attack. So just show you guys the road that they have covered so far. They've made it pretty far. That's been a few tokens. And there's still the support unit here. They are fighting another battle, but the 2 Death Corps of Krieg and the Rogaldorn have been assigned. So when that second orc wave comes out, they're going to be able to shoot. I did forget to use the bubble chukka. And again, this is chess. I've cleaned up the table. I forgot that move. There's also some stuff I forgot to do with the Cadian, so I'll call it even. But the bubble chukka could have probably fired and maybe taken out that last Aquilon or done some damage somewhere else. But it is what it is. I'll show you guys the second wave. I know I brought them in at the start, but just figure I show you guys again. So here it is. We have the big mech leading it. There's the Squighog boys. We have an orc truck. More of the Deffkoptas. These are the ones from the attack on Blackreach, which is like fucking 4th edition. I don't even remember. It was Dark Angels versus Orcs. Those are old, but they're still super cool. And then we do have one more battle wagon. So another very tall order to fill for these Astra Militarum. And then at the end of it all, if they survive that, they do take on the man, the myth, the legend. Well, he's not a man, he's an orc. The orc, the myth, the legend, Ghazghkull Thraka, who is the Gork and Mork kind of orc on the ground. And yeah, they have to survive that final one. So it's kind of like a last wave. There's also the Storm Boys there. The Storm Boys can come in at any time. And since this is the last big wave of orcs coming in, there's likely going to be a wah that gets called. So we'll do that tomorrow. I'm heading up to shower, get into bed, wake up in a few hours, back to the daily grind, but then some Warhammer at night to make everything better if it's a stressful day. So thanks for sticking in, guys. For you, it'll be just a couple seconds. For me, it's going to be probably another 24 hours, but see you soon. Bye-bye. Okay, so we are back. It's a little under 24 hours for me, just a few seconds for you guys, as I said just before we cut. The last orc wave is out here. I've been calling it the second wave. It's just that was the number 2 token that was there, and also if a 2 is rolled, that's who comes out. So I'm calling them the second wave, but this is actually the third wave. The battle wagon has come out right in front of the Hippogriff. We also have the orc truck to its left. There are some more Deffkoptas coming in. They're going to be putting some rockets into the side of the Chimera. The Chimera has Yarrick in there, so that is their main prize. Ghazghkull wants to steal him away or maybe just have one more big scrap with him. The big mech is over here just to the side of the Taurox, another orc that is almost the size or at least the height of a vehicle. And then at the back of the Centaur RSV, we have the Ghazghkull boys. So this is going to be an orc ambush, I'm calling it. We kind of went back and forth. So the orcs ambushed at first. Cadian and Astra Militarum kind of had an idea of what was coming. They could hear those tracks and grunts and whatever else across the horizon, so they were ready to go, jumped out of their vehicles. This time it is the orcs with another surprise ambush. In future, if I do this kind of battle, maybe I'll have some dice rolls in there as well to see which side would be going first. It would be kind of cool to do that. But yeah, we'll see. And I'm also thinking as well, using those new Apocalypse rules that I used for the Eldari Narrative Crusade that I just did before this. The playlist is out there. I might do an Orc versus Astra Militarum and Space Marine Apocalypse fight, because I have tons of orc models, as you guys have seen, and of course hundreds of Astra Militarum guardsmen. So I'm going to get this going. We're going to do some strategy here with the orcs, which is most likely going to be more big loud guns firing into vehicles, or orcs smashing into the side of trucks or into the rear of trucks. And I'll come back, show you guys what is going on there. We will take it then to the shoot and the hand-to-hand, flip it back over to the Astra Militarum if anyone else is alive. They're going to then cruise down the road, hit those last 2 tokens, and then they get to face Ghazghkull. There has also been a wah called, so I'm going to have to look at all of the rules for these orcs to see if they get better ballistic skill, weapon skill, wounds, attacks, all that kind of stuff. So I will take it from here, and we'll get this one going. Be back in just a sec to show you guys what these orcs are up to. Pretty quick move there for the orcs, very orcish. We have the Ghazghkull boys right into the back of the Centaur RSV. That thing might try to back up over them if it can survive the attacks. The big mech has a Drilla. I was checking his weapon profile and then also his melee weapon profile, and the Drilla is super strong, so he is going to be trying to put holes in the side of that Torox and hopefully kill Graves and the Cadian inside. Our Deathcopters here are going to be firing into the Chimera that has Yarrick in it, and then this poor Hippogriff is going to be taking the onslaught of a full battle wagon and a truck as well. So over to the tray, I think I'll roll a few things off camera, do kind of a sum up, see what's going on with the WAH and what kind of buffs they're going to get from that. And then we'll be back in a second, sum everything up, and I think we'll definitely get the Big Mac versus the Torox on camera. He definitely has the capability of destroying this thing. It has 7 wounds left, so we'll see what happens. And I also think the Centaur RSV might be in trouble. You know what? All the Astra Militarum are in trouble. Let's see what happens. For all you non-orc players out there, I am going to just read the WAH faction ability. So with WAH activated, you're able to do that once per battle at the start of your command phase. I called it at the very beginning of this wave. Units from your army with this ability are eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which they advanced. Add 1 to the strength and attacks characteristics of melee weapons equipped by models from your army with this ability. That's going to be crazy for the Big Mech. And then models from your army with this ability have a 5+ invulnerable save. So when the Astra Militarum are able to fight back here, that is going to come into play. So if an orc unit or vehicle does not have an invulnerable, they gain that. It doesn't surpass like if they have a better invulnerable save, but it is definitely something that's there. I'm going to start up here with the Battle Wagon versus the Hippogriff. We're not going to roll. I'll just come back and show you guys in a second how all that goes, just like I said. And then we will roll for the Big Mac and maybe the Ghazghkull boys. We'll see what's going on. I'm kind of going from the front of the convoy line to the back. So Battle Wagon, truck, Deathcopters, Big Mac, Ghazghkull boys, and we'll get what we can on camera. Just going through, the Hippogriff was able to survive the first attacks there from the Battle Wagon and the truck. It did take 2 wounds though, so currently at 3. I definitely want to get this one on camera. I think we should. It's the Deathcopters versus the Chimera that have Yarrick in it. The Chimera currently has 8 wounds, has some of the highest toughness here too, so that's why I put him in here. The Deathcopters have some pretty good firepower though. It's going to be the copter rockets. So there's 3 of them. They each get D3. So we're going to be cutting these dice in half. Let's see how many dice they get in total. I'm going to roll them all at once to make this quick. And they also have twin linked ability. That'll come in during the wound roll. So here we go. So this here is 2.5. That turns into a 3. That's a 1, 4. That's 1.5, 2. So we have 3, 5, 6 dice. So I'll grab 3 more. This is hitting on a 5+, so that ballistic skill works. Hopefully this is going to be their downfall in this fight, but we'll see. Looking for 5s if you're cheering for these Goth orcs. And a bunch fell off. Actually, during the roll for the truck, it's got the big Shuda on it, and it has a rapid 2. I rolled 5 3s, which is pretty hilarious. None of them actually fired, but it was pretty crazy. If it was a Space Marine unit, that would have all been hits. Anyways, these two were through. This is a strength 9 versus toughness 9 of the Chimera, so it's going to be 4s to wound. And I can re-roll these so that both through. It's -2 to AP, so the Chimera goes up to a 5+. Oh no, and it's failed both, and it's 3 damage per. Ooh, it's just hanging on. Luckily, it did not explode. So that is 3, 6. Our Chimera is down to 2, and I think probably Yarrick's going to jump out of there because we still have to face Ghazghkull at the end of this. If that's the case, he does not want to have his Chimera turned into Swiss cheese by the crazy ass cannon on Ghazghkull's arm. So I'm going to keep rolling here. Next up is going to be the Ghazghkull boys. I'll do that off camera, and then we will definitely get the Big Mech on, and then we'll come back and sum it all up. Start at the front here, go down the line. So we saw that Hippogriff take some damage. The Chimera also took some damage. We've not got to the Big Mech, but back here with that WA activated, the Big Choppa and the Stickas from the Ghazghkull boys were able to destroy the Centaur RSV. So they brought it down to 2 wounds, and they did an additional 6. So we are going to see if this thing is going to explode over in the tray. I'm going to bring it back there in a sec. Not going to remove it yet because we need to make sure that the inches away from it are affected. So it's very possible that the Big Mech could be affected, the Taurox could be affected, the Centaur is gone, and the Ghazghkull boys might also take some wounds as well. So over the tray, we'll get that sorted. I'll kind of explain how that goes too if you guys are seeing that for the first time. And then we're going to get to this hand-to-hand combat brawl between the Big Mech and the Taurox. First, have to check and make sure that the Centaur RSV actually has the Deadly Demise. So it does. I just read that. It's a core ability. I'll just read it here really quickly. So in this case, it's a Deadly Demise D3. So some models have Deadly Demise X. In this case, that X is D3 listed in their abilities. When such a model is destroyed, roll 1d6 before moving it from play. On a 6, each unit within 6 inches of that model suffers a number of mortal wounds denoted by the X. If this is a random number, roll separately for each unit within 6. So I'm rolling a red dice. This is for Astra Militarum, so the Centaur has just been exploded. There's ammunition on board. There's probably fuel tanks on it, some explosive stuff, grenades, whatever else. So when a model is destroyed, roll 1d6 before moving it from play, and on a 6, each unit within 6 inches. So we're hoping, I don't know, if you're cheering Astra Militarum, you kind of want this thing to blow up, but you also don't want it to hurt the Taurox either. So let's see what happens here. It is a 1, so nothing has happened. That just means that the Centaur has exploded, kind of imploded on itself, and it is removed from play. So that is it. I'm just going to take it off the field. I removed Castellan Cage's pug as well. He is now standing on top of the Chimera, which is a little bit of a safer place for him. Show you that in a second when we get back to the table. But we're going to keep this rolling live. This is going to be the Big Mech with the initiative here, and the WOG also going on. So I'm just going to see here if there's any extra abilities. So because some, like the War Boss and Mega Armor, he gets some crazy abilities when a WA is called. In this case, more DACA, so no. And there's called Shock Boosta. That's for, no. So he's going to get the basic WA, so that's going to be the add 1 to strength, which is already going to be fucking crazy with this drill arm. And then attacks characteristics are +1 as well. And if the Taurox does not get destroyed and it fights back, he is going to have an invulnerable save. He usually doesn't either. I'm a bit surprised. So he will get a 5+ invulnerable also because of the WA. So I'm going to get the Taurox profile up here. Good luck to you, Taurox, and good luck to Graves and the 4 Acadian shock troops in the back. We kind of need them to jump out here and do some damage. Hopefully they don't die. So this melee weapon is called the Drilla. It is 2 attacks turned into 3 attacks with the WA going on. Usually strength 12. This is going to be strength 13. Oof. So here we go. 3 attacks because of that +1 and hitting on a 3+. Ooh, didn't get one that time. Those 3s would have helped this time. So got a 3 and a 6, 2 are through. That's usually the attacks for this thing, so it's picked up as regular attacks, and the wah helped out in regards. Strength 13 versus toughness 8. It's going to be 3s to wound. Got both of those, no problem. It is -3 to AP. Ay-yoy. And the Torox does not have an invulnerable save. I'm just going to see if it has anything else. It has a deadly demise too, so if it goes down here, not good, and it's 3 damage per for things that aren't saved. So this is 6 saves as per that -3 to AP. Looking for 6s here for the Torox. It has failed both, and that is 6 wounds. Oh, it's just holding on. If this is the Orc Warboss and Mega Armor, there's an extra damage that's allocated to. It had 7 wounds. 6 wounds have gone through. It has 1 wound left. It is going to be able to kind of, I guess, turn around on its little tracky things and try to squash the big mech and do some damage, maybe run over his foot or a cable or something to his like exoskeleton suit he has on. So let's see how it goes. This is the Armored Tracks, the melee for the Torox, hitting on a 4+. And nothing there. So that was all failed, but that is the end of the Orc turn. So I'll just show you guys before we cut here and I move over to the Cadian. Good way to stop it. We have the little pug on top of the Chimera, really holding it down. Wow, good job. And then my guy's just under here. There he is. He's asleep in his blanket. Oh, he's snoring too. Tired. I don't know if you guys can hear him because I have the mic on my chest, but that's his representation on the battlefield in the year 40,000. They have pugs in that year. So that's it for this turn. Big Mech's going to get bounced back. The Cadian are going to be able to fight on and maybe do some more damage to these orcs before they take on Ghazghkull in the last wave, we'll call it. So I'm going to do some strategy here with my Cadian, see if I actually want them to jump out. I might just do weapon systems from the tanks to make sure, because if any of them jump into hand-to-hand combat, if Yarrick gets all brave again, he might actually take some wounds or be killed. We don't want that to happen. So I think I might just get these vehicles firing in to hold off, and then they will take on the big man himself, Ghazghkull, or the big orc himself. Less models to move, the faster it goes. So I've got my Cadian just kind of doing another, not really all-around defense, but they're going to try to blast away at whatever they can, scare these orcs off so they can keep driving down the road and get Yarrick delivered to his convoy point. Torox didn't like being attacked or didn't like the Centaur being destroyed behind it, so he is going to be firing into the Ghazghkull boys. Big Mech's going to be able to make it away from this one because they just don't have enough firepower or weapons to be able to take him on. The Chimera is going to be taking the lighter armored Deffkoptas with the heavy flamer that should be in range and the multi-laser. The truck is also going to survive this. Not enough firepower there either, but our little tiny hippogriff that's actually been holding its own, I moved it up as close as I can to that battle wagon to get the Melta gun and Melta cannon bonuses. If I can blast that thing, if I roll well enough, it's possible I think I could destroy it. But you got to roll super well. I'm not sure if there's just enough weaponry there. And then I'm not going to forget this time, we do have still our siege cannon and quad launcher and the Rogaldorn battle tank. Those should all be in range. I'll double check. Probably roll those off camera, but they might be able to pound that battle wagon as well. I'm not going to fire on the truck or the big mech because I want to try to destroy a big target like this battle wagon. It would be pretty cool to finish that up, and it's also blocking the road. So let's get it out of the way. Over to the tray, gonna roll some stuff off camera, show you guys the big ones, or if anything dramatic occurs, and I'll keep you posted. Come back and we'll sum everything up from the last Astra Militarum turn before they take on Ghazghkull. So absolutely ripped through that. The Astra Militarum, it was okay, not great. Some of the rolls weren't awesome. The Torox was able to kill one of the Ghazghkull boys. The Chimera was able to take 1 wound off of the left Deffkopta there. The Hippogriff, both Melta Blasts, just not high enough rolls. And the support artillery from the siege cannon and the quad launcher did nothing. the oppressor cannon was able to take 3 wounds off of it. So that was the only damage to the battle wagon. So that is it for this kind of, I'll say the final wave, because the last one is just Ghazghkull by himself with maybe a few of the Storm Boys. I forgot the fucking Bubble Chukka again. I keep looking at it across the table. You know what? I'm going to roll for the Bubble Chukka. We're going to see what happens, because that's not fair. I'm just catching it now. I've missed it once, so I'm going to use it this time. I was able to do all of the Astra Militarum stuff, so to make this fair, we will get the Bubble Chukka. And you know what? Let's get it on camera, because it's a blast of a weapon. It's so much fun. I'll check its range, just make sure we're good. And it might actually be firing on the Taurox. We'll have to see what's going on. Yep. So the Bubble Chukka is in range. We're going to do it before I finish off this turn and take my finger off the chest piece. So we're going to use it this time. Yeah, I've used everything else to Astra Militarum this turn, so I just did a double check there to make sure that everything was fair. I kept the Astra Militarum in the vehicles too. I didn't want them coming out to be just ripped apart by these weapon systems, because they would have quickly turned from, you know, the vehicles over to them. So here we go. This is the Bubble Chukka. We're going to see what kind of bubble we get this time. Last time was a dense bubble, and this time we'll see what we get. So not amazing, but not the worst. It is the big bubble is what it's called. So a very possibility of a lot of attacks. So it's a 2d6 to see how many attacks we're getting. So that is going to be 5 in total, a lot less than what was possible. So there's our 5. It's hitting on a 4+. So 2 of those are through. We have 1, 2, 2. Those don't count. These 2 do. Strength 6 versus a toughness of 8. Gonna need 5s to wound. 1 has wounded. -1 to AP. So let's flip it over here. This is a 4+ save for the Taurox. Oh man, and it didn't make it. So that is 1 damage, but that is all that's required, because the Taurox has exploded. The problem here is Graves is in there with the remaining 4 Cadian from that section. So I'm checking just to see if we have the Deadly Demise. We do. So same rules, I just read them. Hoping for a 6 if you're Orcs fans. Hoping not for a 6 if you are Astra Militarum fans. And it is a 4, so they're okay. That just means that the vehicle has been destroyed and the models inside have been able to disembark. So I'm going to remove that Taurox. We'll go to the table in just a sec too while I'm live, show you guys the aftermath of that. And I think Graves is probably going to have to hop into the Chimera with Yarrick for this final fight against Ghazghkull. So I'll pull the camera off, show you guys what's up. Here we are. So the Taurox was here at one time. It is now Graves and her men. They are out in the middle of this roadway, in the middle of some kind of big orky Armageddon desert. Luckily, that is the end of this final wave, and all they have to face now is Ghazghkull. So they are going to move down the road. There's the 2 final tokens. 1 right behind the battle wagon, 1 down there, and then we have Ghazghkull waiting for them at the very end. And he's got some friends. We still have the Bubble Chukka that's able to be used. That's a static piece from the start of the fight. And those Storm Boys have not moved yet, so they're also going to be able to fight. And we'll see how it goes. This is going to be the Astra Militarum going first, because this is not an ambush. They can see Ghazghkull. He's been waiting there the whole time. So we'll see how it goes. The other thing is we do have some static pieces in our compound as well, so they're also going to be able to fire if they are in line of sight. I do not think the Rogel Dorn is. I kind of set it up that way so he couldn't see Ghazghkull beyond the rock. It is a blast weapon, and you're supposed to be able to shoot, but I'm pretty sure our Fufak is dead because he was in the back of the Centaur RSV. So the coordinates that would be coming down on Ghazghkull might not be accurate, and we don't want any friendly fire issues here. So anything that's in range and line of sight, they're going to be able to open up and shoot. The Bubble Chukka from the Orc side and those Storm Boys are definitely in line of sight and definitely will be in range. So let's move them down to that 6th token. Come right back, show you guys what's up. I'm going to clean up these Orcs, maybe my whole Orc force, just to make it easier on myself. And we'll get back and finish one off. It's been so much fun. The final fight is here. The Chimera and the Hippogriff have pulled up the only 2 remaining vehicles left. They have all of their weapon systems fixed on the Storm Boys before the Storm Boys can jump. They kind of caught them off guard, maybe an ambush of themselves. We have the remaining Cadian shock troops and the Aquilon with the gun sentry that are also going to put some rounds down on them. And here it is. Yarrick and Graves have both jumped into hand-to-hand combat with Ghazghkull Thraka. They are going to get the initiative here. The WA is no longer in effect. That was last turn. The distraction Grot is kind of scared. So he's like, whoa, there's two commissars. They have red hats. So this is going to be an epic final fight. It'll be the shoots first for all of my, Astra Militarum, I was going to say Cadian, but there is some Aquilon left there. And then we're going to get this one finished up with Yarrick and Graves, hopefully kicking the crap out of Ghazghkull, but we'll see what happens. So over to the tray, I'm going to do some rolls for the shoots, and then we will finish this one off, see what happens here. Ghazghkull is probably going to be able to fight back, and if any of those Storm Boys are left, they will get the final turn here to finish this one up. But over to the tray, and let's see how the Astra Militarum do. Shoot is all done. The Hippogriff did great. The Melta-Cannon again didn't fire, but the Melta-Gun did. It blapped all over the Storm Boys. It was able to kill 4 of them in one shot and wound the Knob. And then the Chimera was able to light it up with the multi-laser. And the Storm Boys are no longer. So the only model left on the table is Ghazghkull. He's locked in hand-to-hand combat, so no one can shoot him right now because they might be shooting Yarrick or Graves. And that means the artillery as well is not going to be able to fire down to help them out. But we're going to go over the tray now. It is going to be Graves starting it up, Yarrick next. And then if Ghazghkull survives, back over to him to see what happens. So let's get to the tray and get that epic hand-to-hand combat going. Here it is, 2 veteran commissars. Well, commissars are veterans regardless, but 2 veteran Astra Militarum models here versus the big orc Ghazghkull Thraka. This is the Power Sword and Manus Mortis of Commissar Graves. It is 5 attacks, hitting on a 2+. 2 have fallen off. I'm just going to see if she has any special abilities. She's a very new character for me. It says bottle shock. No, this model is shooting. Nope. So there's 3 attacks that have gone through. It is strength 6 versus Ghazghkull's toughness of 6, forced to wound. And she got 2 wounds through, so they are swinging for the fences with those power fists. It is a -2 to AP. That brings Ghazghkull up to his 4+ invulnerable save. Let's see if he can make it. And Ghazghkull's not taking anything, so he's puffed his chest out, probably taken that power fist right off of it. And now it is up to Yarrick to deal some damage here. Let's see if the old man can still do it. He's got his power claw and his power sword. Let's start up with the power sword to get this one going. Hitting on 2+. A couple of 1s, always the 1s. So it is strength 4 versus toughness 6, 5s to wound. 2 are through, so Yarrick's really thrusting hard with that thing. Those 2 have wounded. It is a -2 to AP. I'm guessing probably mastercrafted power sword. Again, 4+ save for Ghazghkull. Oof, and he's made both saves again. So those sword slashes or sword thrusts have just ricocheted right off of Ghazghkull's armor. And now it is time for Yarrick's power claw, the arm that was put onto his after being taken. It is an orc power claw that he is going to be using to try to take down their ultimate war boss. 4 attacks hitting on a 2+. Yes, I don't want any 1s for this one. Come on now. So that is a strength 8 weapon versus toughness 6, 3s to wound. Let's go, Yarrick. 2 and a 1. Shit. I'm just going to see if he has any abilities here. Okay, no. And no. All right. So it is going to be 2 attacks that are through. It might be enough. There they are. -2 to AP. Once again, it's going to be a 4+ save for Ghazghkull. And 1 was saved. 1 was too powerful. It went through and it got Ghazghkull 2 damage. So he goes from his 10 wounds down to 8. And now we're going to see if the tables turn. Ghazghkull always wants a scrap. That is why Yarrick is still alive. He has said that it is tough to come by tough warriors, and he let Yarrick escape. So that is why he is still alive. And this is maybe the moment why Ghazghkull kept him alive, to have one more toe-to-toe bout. So the first attacks here are going to be on, it's going to be on Graves. So it's going to be the Gork's Claw sweep. You know what? I'm just going to check to see. Toughness is 3, I think. Yarrick's is 4. So, okay. We're going to be putting all these against Graves because I think Ghazghkull's going to want one more scrap here. But let's see how it goes. So Gork's Claw sweep. This is 12 attacks coming in. Strength 8 as well. So pretty crazy. I'm just counting 2, 4, 6, 8. So this is it here. Gork's Claw sweep hitting on a 2+. And Ghazghkull only got 1/1. So there you go. My Astro Militarum get a bunch, but he only gets 1. It is strength 8 versus toughness 3. It's going to be 2s to wound. All of those are through. Are you guys seeing this? The rolls. Gork and Mork love their Ghazghkull. So I'm going to use these dice for the save. This is Graves now. It is a -2 to AP. She is a 4+ save, but she does have a 5+ invulnerable, so we need 5s here from her. Holy fuck, she saved a lot of fucking attacks. That's crazy. Maybe I should have used the red dice. The green ones are just hot. So these were all saved, which is insane, because that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 attacks, and we had 6 that were saved. Holy shit. This, however, is not good. Graves has 4 wounds, so this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. She was literally just snipped in half probably by Gork's Claw there. So that is the end of Graves. She has fallen on the battlefield of Armageddon, trying to get a convoy going for Yarrick. This is now moving back over to the orcs, so I'll show you guys what's up there. I think you probably have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen, but we also do have the bubble chukka, which might be able to take out one more unit here. So I'm going to do some little things and then come back, show you guys real quick, and then we'll get back to the tray. The distraction grot is working. The entire Astro Militarum force has been distracted, and they're looking at him while he's doing a little dance in his ninja suit with his grappling hook. Fucking hilarious little creatures. Anyways, this is it again. Ghazghkull has gone back into hand-to-hand combat, this time with the initiative against Yarrick. This may have been the whole reason that he saved him in the past and let him escape. We're going to see if Yarrick does go down to Ghazghkull Thraka on this battlefield in Armageddon while he was trying to get to either an, a base or some kind of off-planet communication to pass on information. I don't know why he's here, but he was trying to get off the field to either instill, a fighting spirit in troops somewhere else in Armageddon, or maybe there was a bigger Wa around the corner, but Ghazghkull knew he was coming and he has met him in hand-to-hand. So we're back over the tray. I'm not going to roll the bubble chukka because it might not be needed. If Ghazghkull kills Yarrick here, that's it. So over to the tray, let's get it sorted. Before we start this up, if this is a destiny fight, there is the ability of Yarrick, the Will of Iron. So the first time this model is destroyed, which could be now, remove it from play. Then at the end of the phase, roll 1d6. On a 2+, set this model back up on the battlefield as close as possible to where it was destroyed and not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. So if Yarrick is the legendary mythical character that he is, and Ghazghkull finishes him here and he comes back to life, I'm saying Ghazghkull's like, you know what, man? We need to fight again sometime. I'm going to let you go. Jump in your Chimera. I'm going to pull my bubble chukka and my distraction grot out of here, and we'll see you another time. But here we go. This is it. Ghazghkull with the initiative this time. It is going to be Gork's Claw sweep again, just because of the sheer amount of attacks with that. We saw Graves go down to it just a second ago, and Yarrick might be next. So here it is, Gork's Claw sweep. 12 attacks, hitting on a 2+. And those are the ones. So maybe Ghazghkull's a little scared fighting his nemesis slash best buddy. So 4 have fallen off. It is strength 8 versus Yarrick's toughness of 4. Yarrick has a toughness of 4. That is the same toughness of a Space Marine, just so you guys know. Here we go. So this is wounding on 2+. And another one fell off. He might be a little scared. Doesn't want his buddy to die yet. So that might have been the one that was going to finish him off. So those are all through. You know what we're going to do, since those green dice rolled so well last time? I'm going to roll them again, and you can see again here, 5, 6 is like pretty damn good. So it's -2 to AP. Yarrick has a 4+ invulnerable, so this is going to be 4+. Not as many saves as Graves. There was 1 6. So Yarrick right now stamped in this battle has died, because that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 wounds, able to kill Yarrick times 2.5. But this is the big one here, and I will roll our red dice for it. You know what? Maybe it'll be my black dice that I've been rolling all the turns with, and it makes sense because our commissars all wear black. So this is Will of Iron. If this is a 2+, Yarrick will live on to fight another day. Ghazghkull is going to let him off the field. So here we go. Let's see if all of this fate has built up to this time. Oh no! Yarrick has fallen, guys. So that is the end. The whole battle mission here was to make sure that he was escorted off through a convoy. His whole force around him fought their asses off to keep him alive. The remaining unit is the Hippogriff, the Chimera, the Aquilon Sergeant. We have the Sentry Gun and the 5 40K shock troops. But maybe Ghazghkull played a little too hard with his buddy, and Yarrick has fallen on this convoy mission, moving from one, I don't know, base to another, trying to motivate his troops. So good way to go down. He went down to the hands of his nemesis. Ghazghkull might go back to his ship. His space hole can cry a little bit because he now doesn't know who his next big target is going to be able to put up a good fight. But this is a blast. I'll pull the camera off, sum this one up. So one hell of a mission, a very, very long road with tons of ambushes, tons of fighting. There is Ghazghkull Thraka, who just killed Commissar Yarrick. There he is. And then we do have the remaining unit here. Ghazghkull's probably going to tear them apart in his rage for having killed Yarrick. He's sad, but also very angry that he did that. And the distraction grot might jump on someone and try to claw out their eyes, and the bubble chucker might blast some things. But that is it for this one. It was an absolute blast. These guys here have also gotten the news because those remaining Cadian and the Aquilon have Vox casters. They just said that Yarrick has gone down. So this unit here might actually leave this base to go finish off whatever's left out there in honor of Yarrick. Yeah, blast. So thank you guys for watching. Finnigan 40K, tons and tons of content, tons of playlists. We had the Eldari Apocalypse Narrative Crusade before this. We had Acadian Narrative Crusade. I've been at this for some time, love it, and I'm definitely thinking about an apocalypse, not narrative battle, but just a massive battle again for Armageddon. Maybe it's going to be to honor Yarrick or to avenge him. It'll be a massive Astra Militarum and Space Marine force versus my huge Orc Wa, probably led by Ghazghkull again. So stay tuned for that. It is summer, been a couple of rainy days here in Ottawa, so I want to get down, play a battle. Hopefully it wasn't too long. When it's all edited up, I'll see what's going on. Yeah, www.finniganproductions.ca for some of my other works. Please give us a like and subscribe to Finnigan 40K. Hashtag Finnigan 40K, at Finnigan 40K. Don't want your money. Love doing this. I don't have a Patreon or any of that stuff. Just please like and share and enjoy. And yeah, I've learned some stuff with the new models and new units here. And really sad to see Yarrick go down because you guys have seen I have his model from like 95. So been collecting Imperial Guard for a very long time, and he has been a hero of mine for some time too. So again, thanks so much. We'll be back soon. Bye-bye for now.